Day for interleague play. The last time these two tangled at the Monster, the Red Sox were just a shot away from their long-awaited championship. But then it was Armageddon. However, today it's more or less a party.
My kind of town, Chicago is. My kind of town, Chicago is.
And all along the warehouse, the word is Mike Messina is on the mend and looking to get the Birds back to contend. The NL's best braves it out in a Baltimore battle. It's a story of the Big Cat and the Birdie. Gotcha. 54 years ago today, they battled in D-Day. Now they do it the honorable way with interleague play. The one and only Fox Saturday Baseball is next.
Steve, you know this. Chicago's definitely my kind of town. And after yesterday's 12-inning thriller, Chicago belongs to the Cubbies. They beat the White Sox yesterday at the friendly confines, and they're partying today at Wrigley Field. Last night in Baltimore, the National League's best team got smoked by the Orioles again. Baltimore beat the Braves 3-2. The Orioles have beaten Atlanta now 4 consecutive times with another matchup today right here on Fox. Hi again, everybody. I'm Chip Carey, joined by Steve Psycho Lyons. Boy, oh boy, great to have interleague play back again, Psycho, and many thought the Orioles were dead in the water. They're 15.5 games back, but now maybe a little momentum as they get their ace, Mike Messina, back on the mound today against Atlanta.
Moose goes today, and this might be a team that played like the Yankees did in '96, kind of just hung in there for a while and then got better, gelled at the end of the year. But I'll tell you what, we're in early June right now, and we have playoff atmosphere all over the place. Guys on the top steps last night for the Oriole game in Chicago. They're in first place. I don't know what that's all about. You own that city right now.
I don't know about owning it, but we got to thank the big broadcaster in the sky for all the help he's given to the Cubs. And speaking of comebacks, how about Mark McGwire? Didn't take him long to return to his chase of Roger Maris's all-time home run record for one season. Mark McGwire, first inning in St. Louis against Oral Hershiser. Just a little chip shot to straightaway center in Busch Stadium.
Well, you know he didn't get all of that one because they could find it.
Yeah. 2-0. That made the score. McGwire is 28. Cardinals, they'll lose again to San Francisco. Oral Hershiser red hot. They win it 3-2. Texas and San Diego resuming hostilities in interleague play. How about Juan Gonzalez, Steve? This guy, maybe the best player nobody knows about, leading all of baseball, 76 RBIs already.
He'll have more than 100 before the All-Star break.
An amazing story is Juan Gonzalez. Amazing story as well as we get you caught up on news around the major leagues. Big suspensions handed out last night. Angels manager Terry Collins, Royals manager Tony Muser, both winners on the interleague front, but they found out they'll be missing some games down the road. That's because of the bean brawls in Kansas City the other night. The fights began when Angels catcher Phil Nevin was hit for the second time in the game and ended with a sucker punch from Royals reserve infielder Felix Martinez. AL president Gene Budig was at the game, came down hard on each manager, suspending them for 8 games apiece. Budig blamed each manager for a lack of leadership, which he says caused the fights to escalate. Besides the managers, a total of 9 players suspended, 22 games, fined $7,500 pending appeals. Suspensions begin June 12th. Steve, we've seen a couple of these ugly brawls. It's been a part of baseball for a long time. Maybe it's time to put them to an end.
Well, that's exactly the point. It is a part of the game. It's not a good part of the game, but it's never going to go away. And you know what? Let's just be honest with ourselves. We love fighting in sports. That's the way it is. We go to a hockey game, we want to see a 5-4 score and 2 fights. We go to auto racing, we don't want to watch them run around and round and round. We want to see a crash. We hope no one gets hurt, but we want to see a crash. Football, the violence. We love that stuff. You're never going to stop it. You can slow it down. 2 ways to slow it down. Number 1, in baseball, have a rule where it's like the third man in hockey. If you hit me, I come to get you. If your third baseman comes in to help, he gets a 5-game suspension. Anyone comes off the bench or out of the bullpen, they're all suspended. Me and you will go at it. That might slow it down. Plus, don't show me the replay a million times. If you stop seeing it, maybe those guys will stop doing it.
The existence of the DH a big problem, too. There's no accountability by the pitcher. He can throw a 95-mile-an-hour fastball. He doesn't have to face one with a bat in his hand.
Oh, here we go. You want me to charge the mound right now? We're going to go with that
I would
DH
love it
again.
because I know if you took a swing, you'd miss.
DH in the American League, we love it. No DH in the National League. It's painful to watch those pitchers, but the fact is it's been around for 25 years. Don't get rid of it right now. It's one of the best arguments in baseball. We love to talk about DH, no DH.
Here's a story I hope goes away. Will somebody please sign J.D. Drew and get this mess over with?
Oh, man, now that St. Louis drafts him, he should have signed last year with the Phillies. They offered him $6.5 million over 4 years. What's wrong with that? Scott Boras is the agent. The guy's always a belligerent agent, leading him down the wrong path. This guy has not played for 21 years of his life to go play in the Northern League again.
Amazing the Gall trying to compare compare his situation to Orlando Hernandez, who saved his life by coming over from Cuba.
Orlando Hernandez hopped on a man-made raft tied together by twine to try to end up in Florida. He deserves what he gets. J.D. Drew's talking about going to Costa Rica. Let him go. Maybe
we need a worldwide draft to take care of situations like that. Well, Hernandez making headlines, and the Mets are trying to stay on the New York headlines on the back page. Yesterday, they made another big move involving another former Dodger Rookie of the Year. They picked up Hideo Nomo, reunited him with his former Dodger battery mate Mike Piazza, who is day-to-day after being hit by a Pedro Martinez pitch last night. More from New York and Joe Buck.
All right, Chip, thank you very much. It's Interleague Baseball. It's back on Fox, and today at historic Fenway Park, a rematch of the '86 World Series, the New York Mets and the Boston Red Sox. Hello, everybody. Joe Buck along with my partner, Tim McCarver. And, Tim, the Mets have been stealing the back page, so to speak, with their recent acquisitions. Piazza first, and now Hideo Nomo giving that sermon on the dugout here yesterday for the press.
As a matter of fact, the Mets have experienced 2 tornadoes the last week. One that touched down about a mile from Three Rivers Stadium when they were playing on Tuesday night. The other one touched down at 3:34 p.m. yesterday at Logan Airport. Hideo Nomo, the tornado. Only 2-7 on the year, but remember, this guy was the Rookie of the Year only 4 years ago.
Well, Mets fans and baseball fans wondering what happened to Mike Piazza last night in the first inning facing Pedro Martinez. Hit on the left hand. He went to the hospital. X-rays negative. He is day-to-day, but that's not a good sight for all you Mets fans out there. That's the story here at Fenway. Back to Hollywood. Chip and Steve, it's all yours.
Joe and Tim, thank you very much. Of course, Nomo, a former Rookie of the Year, and that man might be your model this year. Kerry Wood of the Chicago Cubs, what a story he has been for the Chicago North Side Ball Club. I sat down with Kerry Wood and talked about his toast of the town status in Chicago. Did you ever expect, coming out of high school, that all of a sudden I'm going to be pitching in the major leagues, and in my 5th start I'm going to strike out 20 guys?
No. You know, everything was working that day. I had confidence in it. I knew I had 3 after the first inning, and that's a good way to start.
Strike 3 call. He punched out the order in the first.
You know, pretty much after that, I lost count.
Got him. Making 5 in a row. He strikes out the side again. What can you say? 18 strikeouts.
They run out of Ks, though, man. What's the deal? We got to have a Kerry Wood K promotion.
They don't, you know, who would think to bring 20? Who would think to bring 20?
Here comes the hook.
I remember after the game, you came over to the dugout. You were talking to us on the air.
I'm out of words. I don't have anything to say.
I noticed your hands were shaking, and I asked you the question: what made you more nervous, going for the record or doing the interview?
No, the interview, no question.
Well, it was one of those days that's in the record books, and I'm sure your folks were watching.
You know, I got over there and my hand was shaking. I saw it later on. My hand was shaking, and I was just, I guess I was overwhelmed and kind of excited.
Has set a major league record for strikeouts.
He called just, to congratulate me and said he was real excited for me and, keep up the good work. And that phone call to me was something I'll never forget.
Where's the 34 come from?
Well, I watched Nolan Ryan growing up, and it's one of the numbers that was left when I got called up, so they gave it to me, and, I'm going to wear it, and I'm going to wear it with pride.
Well, I think anytime a player thinks enough of you that they want to wear your number, that it's indeed an honor. I think that he's in a real good situation with the Cubs and the fact that they're very competitive this year. I think it's going to be an exciting year for him.
Here comes the 2-2. Got it! He's got the record!
Seeing him for the first time, I didn't know what to expect, and this guy actually blew me away in the first at bat.
When he gets the ball over the plate, he can be devastating. And yes, he has the capability of throwing a no-hitter and striking out 15 to 18 men every time he goes to the mound.
At 20 years old, I don't know if there's anybody right now with a brighter future than this guy. He's heads up.
Fastball belted down the right field line. It's a grand slam.
You had good stuff in the pen warming up, didn't you?
Oh, I had great stuff. Best stuff I've ever had going into a game.
Didn't you say to the guys, won't be needing y'all tonight?
Yeah. I've never said anything like that before. I don't know. I don't know. I'll never do it again, though.
Get that one on camera? I love that cage.
Are you having the time of your life, though?
Exactly. Oh, you can't imagine.
They're paying us to do this. Can you believe it? They're paying us.
We should be paying them to be out here playing.
Don't say that too loud.
No, I didn't say that.
All right, Chip, great job on that. You know him. He's a good kid. He's got a great arm. But you have the Ryan Express. You have the Rocket. Even I have a nickname. He needs one.
I like just plain Kerry. Nothing wrong with that. All right, folks, the Stanley Cup Finals matchup is set. Chris Osgood, boy, he was tough in the net. Sergei Fedorov with a game-winning goal. Red Wings beat Dallas 2-0. So it's the Washington Capitals, a Cinderella story against the champion Red Wings. Game 1 of the Stanley Cup Finals starts Tuesday at 8 o'clock Eastern, 5 Pacific, right here on Fox. Sweet home Chicago. The White Sox and Cubs both call the Windy City their home, but who will be the second city citizen in the second game? The Cubs took round 1 in 12 innings, and John Rooney and Jeff Torborg are standing by at the friendly confines.
It's a short commute on the L for Windy City baseball fans to take part in this crosstown civil war. Seemingly at birth, a choice must be made. Are you a North Side Cub or a South Side Sox? The lines are drawn as yesterday the Cubs drew dramatic first blood in this Battle of Chicago. In the bottom of the 12th inning, Brad Brown, who came into the game as an 8th inning defensive replacement, turned out to be the hero, hitting a home run on this Tony Castillo pitch into the seats and right, and the North fired the first shot of this crosstown civil war. Welcome to Chicago's North Side as Chicago's celebration of baseball continues. The White Sox and the Cubs in the middle game of the 3-game interleague series. Hi, everybody. I'm John Rooney along with Jeff Torborg. And how about the electricity in this place yesterday, Jeff, as the Cubs and White Sox played to a standoff until the bottom of the 12th?
It was unbelievable. It was like postseason. This is a special rivalry, John. It's not just territorial. It's socioeconomic. There's kind of a little hatred on either side of town here.
Well, the players like to downplay the series so they can get ready for their own games, but we wondered how they really feel about it, and I think Mark Grace of the Cubs summed it up best when he talked about the Cubs against the Sox.
Anybody that's from Chicago, it's cut and dry. You can't be both Sox and Cubs fans. You have to be one or the other. And I think just from my 11 years here, I think the Cubs are hated by Sox fans more than the Sox are hated by Cub fans, if you get my drift.
John, I can relate to this because when I was hired as a White Sox manager in '89 and I was introduced to the fans, they said, you don't have to win the pennant. You just have to beat the Cubs, so I can relate to that.
But back then, the games were played for bragging rights and charity, and now they're played for keeps. And check out the standings in the Central for the Cubs, who have tied the Houston Astros. The Astros lost to the Royals, and with the Cub win yesterday, they're in first place this late in the season for the first time since they won the division in 1989. Our starting pitchers for Game 2 in the series. Scott Ayer goes for his first road win in his career against Kevin Tapani, who used to pitch for the White Sox. It's round 2 of our crosstown civil war, the Sox and the Cubs, and we'll come back to Wrigley Field after these messages from your local Fox station.
Summertime, and the living is, well, exciting at Dubuque Greyhound Park and Casino. But winning $100 is easy with drawings held Monday through Friday at 1, 5, and 9 p.m. Every entry each week is eligible to win a patio of prizes, Weber grills, picnic baskets with goodies, gliders, coolers, and more. Winning is a picnic now through June 26th at
Dubuque Greyhound Park and Casino. Come out and play.
Reel in big savings on lawn and garden products at Menards. Store garden hose neatly with Suncast hose reels. The options reel can be carried or wall mounted, $14.78. Hose reel carts are $16.73. Kill bugs and weeds with Dexol products, all on sale. 10-pound bags of insect control granules are $4.95 after rebates. Menards makes yard and garden work easier.
Save big money at Menards.
If you've envied those beautifully decorated homes you've seen in magazines and wondered how you could make your home as beautiful, all you need are the selection of paint, wallpaper, and window treatments from Mott's Paint. Stop in and talk to one of Mott's decorators at either location. Mott's decorators can help you plan the perfect look, working with your existing furnishings and within your budget. To see what they can do for your home, stop in and talk to one of the decorating professionals at Mott's Paint, 10th and Iowa, or next to Kennedy Mall on Stolman Road.
Great food, a casual atmosphere, and a wonderful view await you at Dockside. Stop by this Sunday and join us for brunch. Our all-you-can-eat buffet features all your Sunday favorites, along with a beautiful view overlooking the Cedar River. Dockside is also a great place for lunch. Stop in and try our pasta buffet, or enjoy the best steaks and freshest seafood in town from our evening menu. All this in a casual and inviting atmosphere. Dockside Casual Dining, 1895 Ellis Boulevard, Cedar Rapids.
The home of the 1998 World Series. We're Fox 28 and 40.
Welcome back to Wrigley Field on the north side of Chicago. As they pack the place for Game 2 today, the fans are still coming in. And our temperature going into the game, 56 degrees. The humidity at 72%. The wind blowing from left to right at 8 miles an hour, and we had a little bit of rain just a while ago. And here's the MCI starting lineup for the Chicago White Sox of Jerry Manuel. Leading off and playing second base, Ray Durham. Batting second, the shortstop, Mike Caruso. Frank Thomas is at first base, hitting third. Albert Bell is in left field. He has been hot lately, 11 games on his hitting streak. Robin Ventura's at third base. Will Cordero will bat sixth in right field. Hitting seventh in center field, Maglio Ordonez. Batting eighth and catching, the veteran Charlie O'Brien. And Scott Air will do the pitching today. On the mound for the Cubs, here's Kevin Tapani. He's 34 years old, makes his home in Eden Prairie, Minnesota. Kevin Tapani is going for his 8th victory, Jeff.
Well, he's a winner, John. You know that. His numbers are very good this year. After missing 4 months of last season, came back and had an outstanding finish last year. Has picked it up this year. See his numbers. When you have hits close to innings pitched, you know you're having a pretty good year. Very good control, only 22 walks. And, of course, he knows the White Sox so well, having pitched there just 2 years ago.
And defensively behind Kevin Tapani today, here's how the Cubs will line up. Mark Grace was supposed to get the start at first base today. He was scratched just a moment ago. He has a foot injury, a foul ball off a foot, and he had to have treatment for that today. Wanted to play badly, but yesterday's hero is in at first base, Brant Brown.
And the amazing thing defensively, Brant Brown is a very good first baseman. Good enough athlete to be having been playing center field with Sammy Sosa being out through an injury. Here's Brant Brown playing at first base. This is a pretty good defensive ball club.
And when Brown came up to the major leagues, we were working a Fox telecast here, and many said he reminds one of Mark Grace around the first base bag. This broadcast is also available in Spanish by utilizing the SAP button on your television. And here we go. There's strike one to Ray Durham. The White Sox second baseman had a tough day yesterday. He went 0 for 6. He had 5 strikeouts. And that's a flare foul down the left field line. And while facing Traxel, that would have been a moral victory for Ray Durham yesterday. He had a tough time with a split finger fastball.
Yeah, John, I was just thinking the same thing. There are times when you go to the plate. Of course, I wasn't a very good hitter, but you go to the plate, you just want to make sure you make contact. You don't want to embarrass yourself.
Inside to Ray Durham. Tapani backs him away with a breaking ball. Ray Durham has the American League lead with 5 triples. Derek Jeter, Jose Offerman, Bernie Williams are also tied with Ray Durham for that lead. On the ground to the second baseman, Manny Alexander. Alexander played third yesterday. And Ray Durham makes the first out of the ball game. Let's talk more about Kevin Tapani now, who has a major league record of 108 and 81.
John, he really is a good control pitcher. He's not the kind of guy that blows you away. He's got 2 types of fastballs. One he can make sink. One he can, when you call it a rider, it means it's a 4-seamer. He can run it up in the strike zone. Good sharp slider. Excellent circle changeup. And as we mentioned, very good control.
Mike Caruso, 21-year-old shortstop who came to the White Sox from San Francisco. Their controversial trade last year. Wilson Alvarez, Roberto Hernandez, and Danny Darwin going to the Giants at about midseason. Caruso has been a surprise to the White Sox. While hitting safely in 6 straight games, he was able to leg out an infield hit to extend his hitting streak to 6 yesterday. But he has made contact and hit the ball much better than the White Sox expected. And Tapani gets the pitch in there. 2 balls and a strike, 1 out and nobody on at Wrigley Field. I think the fans were so charged up yesterday, and then a lot of them, most of them, are Bulls fans as well. It was an emotional day in Chicago. And that can be trouble for the Cubs. Alexander with a bare hand. What a play. That's the only way he could get Mike Caruso. There wasn't enough time to go from the glove to the throwing hand, Jeff.
Well, you're not kidding. That was an outstanding play. Manny Alexander can play shortstop. Yesterday played third. He is a real good athlete, if you remember, and as you watch him make this play with the bare hand. If he doesn't make it with that bare hand, that's a do or die play. You don't have a chance. But remember, he was the guy that was supposed to move Ripken off a shortstop with the Orioles, and it never happened.
The fans boo as Frank Thomas, the defending American League batting champion, comes up, and yes, that 271 is correct. 9 homers and 40 RBIs. And he pops this one up from the left side of the infield. Jose Hernandez. He played in the outfield yesterday and makes the catch from his third base position. The White Sox go 1-2-3, and the Cubs will have Manny Alexander leading off in the bottom of the first.
I talk to my mom every Sunday. Nothing big, just to stay close. Tell her what the kids are up to. And that's why I signed up for MCI 5-cent Sundays. It's just 5 cents a minute, so we can talk for half an hour for just $1.50. That same call was $4.50 with AT&T's One Rate. We save more with MCI. And best of all, hi, Grandma. We all get to talk more.
Call 1-800-Sundays to become an MCI customer.
We both love nuggets.
And I'll always love that about you.
Because they're tender and juicy.
Thing is, you're sweet and sour, and I'm honey mustard.
But we're breaking up?
Sorry.
Don't look at me. I'm barbecue.
And speaking of Wendy's all-white meat, crispy chicken nuggets, if you had 99 cents, what would you buy? A gallon of gas? A new air freshener? How about Wendy's chicken nuggets? Bite for bite, the best bet in chicken.
That's the one I'd pick.
Gary Sheffield, outstanding bat speed. Pull the ball with the best of them.
The secret to MLB 99's realism? Scouting reports straight from the pros.
Favorite cheese Gouda.
Ooh, Gouda. Well, what's his favorite cracker?
Girls settle.
PlayStation.
Get ready to get creative. Get into a Rebel G. Go beyond snapshots. Experience the ultimate rush.
Cool.
Rebel G and only EOS lenses from Canon.
Welcome back to Wrigley Field. The Chicago White Sox went 3 up and 3 out, and now it's the Chicago Cubs' turn, and here's the MCI starting lineup for them. Leading off at second base, Manny Alexander. Terrell Lowry is in center field. Brand Brown is hitting third. Sammy Sosa in right field. He has had a power game going lately. Jeff Blauser is the shortstop. Henry Rodriguez will bat sixth in left field. Batting seventh to third base, Jose Hernandez, and in the number 8 spot, Scott Service to catcher. And on the mound, Kevin Taffany. Here's the man who's going to face this Cub lineup today, Scott Air, a 26-year-old who makes his home in West Valley City, Utah.
It'll be interesting to see how Air faces this ball club, because he's a kind of guy that he looks a little excitable to me. He's one of those crazy left-handers, but he's got pretty good stuff, but he's got to locate. Remember, yesterday's starter really struggled because he couldn't locate.
Defensively behind White Sox starter Scott Air, Robin Ventura. Gold Glover at third base, but the White Sox defense has been so off and on. I think it reflects big in their record.
Well, I think it does too, John. Between shortstop, second base, and third base, they have 30 errors.
An off-speed pitch on the first pitch of the game from Scott Air. And here's Manny Alexander. Had a big day yesterday at 3 for 5. Batting over 300 with 3 home runs and 10 RBIs. 1 ball and 1 strike on Alexander. He has 6 hits in his last 13 at-bats.
You know, it'll be really interesting to watch all day as Charlie O'Brien catch. He's one of the best in the game.
On a curveball to the young shortstop. Caruso, an off-balance throw, but Thomas is able to make the catch at first base. Caruso has had some throwing problems, but Thomas was able to watch that one into the glove. And let's take a look at the first out of the game here for the Cubs.
Well, Frank Thomas has been taking a lot of heat at first base. Now here's Caruso, as you mentioned, John. Everybody's a little worried about his arm. That big hop. Frank has never had a problem with his glove. He's always had good hands. His problem has been throwing. You put Frank out there every day and he builds his confidence in throwing, he's okay. I think he takes an unfair knock on how he handles the glove.
Well, Frank Thomas saved an error there on the throw by Caruso. The White Sox have the most in the American League at 52. Strike 1 on Terrell Lowry, the center fielder, who was batting .295 at Iowa when the Cubs purchased his contract, and he's gone 1 for 6 at the major league level. 0 for 1 here yesterday. A strike, and it's 0-2. Terrell Lowry. A different player in the lineup from yesterday, Mickey Morandini, is not starting this one after he had his 14-game hitting streak snapped. Air goes away on 0-2, 1 ball and 2 strikes.
You know, if we have any young catchers out there watching and you want to see how to catch a game, watch Charlie O'Brien, the White Sox catcher, catch behind the plate. He is so smooth.
Lowry stays alive. He's only caught 10 Cy Young Award winners.
That's all, and he just took a shot in that mask. That is the mask that.
And that's what he
designed.
likes about that mask.
Yes, it deflects the shot. It absorbs the foul tips that come back off the bat, kind of go off of that thing because it's an angle. That's a hockey type mask.
2-2 now on Terrell Lowry with 1 out.
But when you talk about a catcher being a receiver, there are some catchers who are boxers. They go out there and they push at the ball and they're jumping all over the place. Charlie O'Brien is so smart, really has great game feeling, but he also has soft hands. Even on that pitch that was wide, he tried to pull it back. There's a term in baseball now they talk about framing the pitch. Well, I never heard of that when I was catching, but was taught to receive the ball. Charlie O'Brien holds his hands back close to him and is very soft. He really helps his pitchers.
Now a 3-2 pitch. The foul ball, and Scott Air was ahead in the count on Terrell Lowry and then fell behind to a 3-2 count.
You know, Charlie's just taken 2 shots to the nose, and you know, people say, well, it hits the mask, I can't hurt. It's like somebody punching you with a boxing glove. There it goes, right off, hits him right between the eyes.
But he doesn't feel the shock as he
Not
would
as much,
with
right.
the conventional catcher's mask.
And that mask has much better vision out of it than the conventional mask.
Got him on strikes. The first strikeout for Scott Air is Terrell Lowry, 2 down in the Cubs first. Brant Brown is coming to bat. He came in as an 8th inning defensive replacement yesterday, and in the last week, Brant Brown has been tough with 2 game-winning homers. Just a week ago, he rocked John Rocker in Atlanta. Then yesterday in the 12th inning against Tony Castillo, he sent this place into a frenzy with the home run to right field, ending the game played in 3 hours and 50 minutes. 1 strike on Brant Brown today, a late minute addition with Mark Grace unable to go with a sore foot. And Brown is hitting in the number 3 spot. 2 for 3, a home run and a double yesterday. 2 strikes to count on Brant Brown. Air was able to do that with Terrell Lowry, and then in trying to be maybe a little bit too fine, went to a 3-2 count and got Lowry with a high hard one. Goes right after Brown, getting the count to 0-2.
You know, John, watching Scott Air, I was talking to Charlie O'Brien before the game. He has got what you call in the game now a slurve. It's a big side kind of curveball, but it breaks a little like a slider, and that's where the term, putting them together, slurve comes from.
There's the slurve ball. But how about what Charlie O'Brien did in looking to Brant Brown? What was up with that?
You know what he's doing? He's looking to make sure he's not peeking the see location. Watch Charlie O'Brien. Watch the hitter's head. After giving the sign, see his eyes? He's making sure that Brant Brown doesn't look down to see where he's sliding to give the pitch.
Got him on strikes. 2 strikeouts. That a punch out from home plate umpire Ed Rapulano. The middle of the White Sox order is coming up in the 2nd inning at Wrigley Field.
Great. That tune-up.
These AC Delco parts are about the most dependable you can buy. They should really help improve your performance.
Come on, they're all the same. I'll take some out of this bushel basket.
Okay.
AC Delco. No matter what you drive, if you're not asking for it, you're asking for it.
One day, science will create a pill for men's hair loss. That day is today. Introducing Propecia, the first pill for men with certain types of hair loss. In clinical studies, the vast majority of men, 83%, maintained their hair count, and most, 66%, regrew some hair. You may need to take it daily for 3 months or more to see results. Propecia is for men only. A small number of men experience certain sexual side effects. Each occurred in less than 2% of men. Women who are or may potentially be pregnant must not use it or handle broken tablets because of the risk of a specific kind of birth defect. Talk to your doctor or pharmacist and read the consumer information they can provide. To men who want to treat their hair loss, this could be the most exciting commercial they've seen in years. Propecia, helping make hair loss history.
There have been only 7 Wheaties champions this century. Better make that 8.
Introducing Tiger Woods, a new generation of Wheaties champion.
Today, in the Atlantic Fleet,
on board USS Enterprise, character was forged.
Valor was commended.
Minds were enlightened.
Lessons were learned.
Fears were conquered. Worlds were discovered.
Honor was defined.
Courage was found.
Commitment was sealed.
Today on board USS Enterprise,
over 5,000 journeys began anew.
What did you do?
What did you do today?
Call 1-800-USA-NAVY. Let the journey begin.
Homer joins a religious cult.
You think you might have been brainwashed?
If that didn't kill the girl.
The Simpsons, Sunday on Fox.
Indeed, it's the North Side 1, the South Side nothing, with a 6-5 victory yesterday for the Cubs on Brant Brown's 12th inning home run. And that's across Waveland here at Wrigley Field. The fans watching from the rooftops, and the fans are still filing in to Wrigley Field for Game 2 of the series. You're looking at Albert Bell, the cleanup batter for the White Sox. He goes after Tapani's first pitch beginning the second inning. He was looking first ball fastball and fouled it off.
You know, I think he was looking for it, John, but he's even late on it. But you know where we saw that sign, North Side 1, South Side nothing. That's in an area that Albert Bell can reach very easily if he gets hold of one. He is so strong. He holds his hands out in front of him, kind of closer to the pitcher than normal, and he is so strong.
With the breaking ball outside, Albert Bell has a 1-1 count. And looking at the flags in center field now, Jeff, the wind is blowing out.
Yeah, yesterday was blowing a gale in, so you thought not too much would get out. You never know in this ballpark. The wind can change so rapidly, and if it comes off the lake, it gets cold quickly. But you can see Kevin Tapani is being very careful with Albert Bell. What he's actually doing is pitching away from his power. Now, if he can get ahead, of course, now he's down 2-1, or he can get even 2-2. He might come back inside, but you got to be very careful of Albert Bell.
You have to be careful with Albert Bell right now because he's probably on his best hitting streak. He has an 11-gamer going, but he had a 2-home-run game against the Yankees earlier this week on the road trip. He has 4 doubles, 4 home runs, 11 RBIs, and batting over 400 during the 11-game streak. He hits that hard to left field. And a nice reach by Henry Rodriguez retires Albert Bell. And we have one out. Kevin Tapani making the start. We were interviewing Kevin Tapani yesterday when he got a visit from an old friend of his from the south side of Chicago.
Yeah, it's going to be a full house here and a lot of bragging rights for Chicago. So, yeah, I think it'll be a fun weekend. Oh, no. Oh, yeah.
Now, what were you saying?
He gets to face me again, so he's happy to see me. The only guy
happy to see him.
Oh, man.
I'll tell you what.
I may not sleep tonight.
I think he slept well. Tapani did after the game yesterday. And Ventura is happy to see Tapani with a ball down the right field line. Sosa getting to it quickly. Robin knows better. Even though the throw was offline, Ventura didn't want to test his old teammate Sammy Sosa.
Oh, you're right there, John. That was a bullet. Robin Ventura's been hot, but you can see Sammy saying he threw a sinker into second base, but Sammy Sosa has one of the best right field arms you'll see. Here's the pitch. Robin takes a ball low and in, lines it down the right field line, but Sammy Sosa knows this wall, jumps on this ball in a hurry, and throws a rocket into second base. He's got a terrific arm.
Ventura is on first base with our first hit today. And there's Will Cordero, the right fielder. Cordero has played first base, left field, right field for the White Sox. The third baseman, Jose Hernandez, has to play at first. That was a nice reach and stretch by Brant Brown. Cordero was out with Ventura moving into scoring position, 2 away in the White Sox half of the second inning.
John, watching that play that Brant Brown just made, that is the play that I've seen more first basemen get hurt on. When the throw is into the runner and the thrower are coming at the same time, the first baseman reaches into the runner. I've seen guys break their arms. My youngest son playing in a college league broke his arm. I saw Clifford Floyd with a here's the throw. As you can see how he had to reach into the runner, and now he's going to try to get out of the way.
See, a lot of the times, though, it's a right-handed throwing first baseman that has a great deal of difficulty getting out of the way. Ordonez grounds to second, and Alexander throws him out. One hit, and the White Sox left Ventura on. Coming up for the Cubs, Sammy Sosa after these messages.
the new zero-pressure Michelin. So revolutionary it won't go flat, even with the puncture the size of a golf ball, letting you drive up to 50 miles at 55 miles per hour. Just what you'd expect from Michelin.
Insuring over 40 million people worldwide.
Some guys have all the luck. Some guys have all the plays. Some guys get all the grace. Some guys
Play Pepsi Pop Culture. Just drink Pepsi or Mountain Dew. Match winning phrases and win tons of cool prizes. From cash to trips. Even a new Jeep Wrangler. Pepsi Pop Culture. Drink, match, win.
Fox Saturday Baseball Game of the Week, brought to you by MCI 5-cent Sundays. Pay the least on the day you call the most. By Aflac, insuring over 40 million people worldwide. By AC Delco Automotive Parts. AC Delco. If you're not asking for it, you're asking for it. And by Propecia. Talk to your doctor today.
No scores. We go to the bottom of the second inning. A look at Lake Michigan, and there's Sammy Sosa coming to bat. And how does Sammy begin every home game? He sprints to right field, Jeff.
Boy, this is great. It gets those fans in the bleachers all going. Now watch as he runs. He'll make gestures to him, and then he'll tap his heart and kiss his fingers. He's saying, I love you guys. He does that to his mother every time he hits a home run, gets back in the dugout. But the right field crowd really responds to him.
Well, there's a love affair here on the north side with the Cubs that, quite frankly, the White Sox do not enjoy right now on the south side.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. When Sammy was part of it over on the south side, you know, they loved him over there because he was such a good, young, aggressive player.
Sosa chops this one toward Robin Ventura, and that's a foul ball. Sammy Sosa, as you mentioned, played for you, Jeff, on the south side of Chicago. But I'll tell you, this ballpark is built for him.
Yeah, it really is. You know, and he's just gotten better and better as a player. If you take a look at his shoulders, this guy is one of the strongest built people you ever want to see. He's only about 5'10", 5'11", but he's got hands on him like a guy who's 6'8". He is just massively strong, and he's a great kid. From the very day he came to the White Sox team, he just gave you the feeling he wanted to learn. He wanted to play. Please let me play. He got so upset if he wasn't in the lineup. Not as a bad guy, but just frustrated.
Sosa gets out of the way of a pitch in. There's Lance Johnson, who used to be in center field, in the outfield with Sammy Sosa at Comiskey Park. And Lance is on the disabled list right now with a very sore hand.
You know, it's amazing. And that was 2/3 of my outfield in 1990. We won 94 games. Two young kids who could really fly. Neither of them would take a walk, but I was platooning them as leadoff hitters. We didn't have a prototypical leadoff hitter.
Sosa pops it up. Frank Thomas coming down the line in foul territory. And he has it one out. Right now, let's return to Chip Carey in our Fox Television Center for a game break.
Jeff, chilly day in Chicago, 71 degrees in Baltimore, and it just got hotter for Mike Mussini. He struck out the side in the first, but has given up 4 runs, capped by Javier Lopez, his 13th homer of the year. Mussina's first start back not going very well. He trails at 4-0. Back to you in the Windy City.
So Mussina has given up the long ball. And here's Blauser on a ground ball to the shortstop. Caruso throws him out. Sosa has popped out. Blauser has grounded out. And Jeff Abbott, who plays for the Chicago White Sox, had a 2-home run game earlier this year against Mussina and the Baltimore Orioles. There's Jerry Manuel. He's in his first year as manager of the White Sox, coming off a year where he was a coach on Jim Leyland's staff with the Florida Marlins. So there's another ex-Marlin.
This guy is a very good person, and he's also an outstanding baseball man, and he's got to be very frustrated the way the fortunes of his ball club have been going this year. But I have a feeling this club will turn it around, John.
A strike on Henry Rodriguez.
You know, I look at this team, I look at the White Sox, and I see power through the lineup. I see a bunch of guys who in the past have been able to put big numbers on the board. I think they'll do it again. I don't know how good the pitching staff will be.
Rodriguez gets under this one. Air gets a fly ball, right field. And Cordero dropped the ball. And that puts Rodriguez at second with 2 outs.
Well, this
53rd error committed by the White Sox.
John, just as we said, when you have guys playing out of position, here are the errors. You can see where the White Sox are ranked, and because they're playing a National League club now, Cordero is playing in the outfield. Normally he'd be at first base. Frank Thomas would be the DH. There is no DH playing in a National League park, and Cordero has not been a right fielder. He played the infield originally and then played left field with the Red Sox. Right and left field are different positions. I'm not making excuses for him, but it is not easy.
And here is Scott Air, 26-year-old, looking for his first career road win, and he gets a pop-up. Gets a fly ball into medium right field. Now he has to try to pick up Will Cordero, and on an off-speed pitch, he gets Jose Hernandez swinging and missing.
You're right. When you want to see the kind of character of a pitcher is how he responds under adverse conditions when he thinks he's out of an inning. The good ones will say, don't worry about it, I'll pick you up. The inexperienced ones who are a little faint of heart will get nervous and they'll have trouble.
Another off-speed pitch and 2 strikes on Jose Hernandez.
That's Charlie O'Brien's influence right there. He's not going to let a youngster go out there. Normally what they'll do when they get in trouble is try to throw harder. Charlie has just made him throw easier.
Each team has had a runner on second base. That just missed. The count of 1 ball and 2 strikes on Jose Hernandez, who yesterday was 0 for 3 with a walk. Hernandez has played all over the field for the Cubs. 10 starts at third, 11 in center, 3 at shortstop, 9 appearances in left field. The Cubs have needed Hernandez's versatility with Lance Johnson on the disabled list.
Yes, and also the fact that they sent their young prospect Kevin Ory down to the minor leagues for a little while. He of course had a good rookie year last year, but struggled this year. But Hernandez just moved right in, played third base, as you mentioned, plays all over and plays very effectively wherever he is placed.
A full count on Hernandez, and Scott Service will bat if Hernandez gets on in the second inning. We have no score at Wrigley Field.
Now here's the situation, the game within the game. Now you've got the pitcher-catcher relationship, trying to get a hitter out with an open base at first base and 2 outs. I venture to say you'll see Charlie O'Brien call an off-speed pitch here.
He did, and struck out Jose Hernandez. 3 strikeouts for Scott Air. We're going to the third in this crosstown rivalry. No score at Wrigley.
You're watching Fox Saturday Baseball Game of the Week.
More excitement, more fun, more golf. The Quad City Classic gives you PGA golf at its best, July 6th through the 12th at Oakwood Country Club in Cold Valley, Illinois. This year's exciting event features top tour professionals sharing the $1,550,000 purse, plus Wednesday through Saturday music by Duck Soup, a Saturday topped off with exciting fireworks, all part of this year's Quad City Classic. For tickets, call Ticketmaster in Cedar Rapids at 363-1888. Get into the swing of this year's Quad City Classic.
Make painting jobs fast and easy with Wagner sprayers from Menards. Paint like a pro with this Power Painter Kit. It sprays paint or stain indoors or out, just $69. Build tree rings, flower gardens, or retaining walls with border stone or Sahara stone from Menards. Both on sale. Your choice, just 89 cents each. Improve your landscaping and save at Menards.
Save big money at Menards.
Meet the Strikeout King. Meet the other Strikeout King. It's General Mills Seat Cushion Night, Saturday, June 6th, when the Colonels welcome the Lugnuts to Vet Stadium. The first 1,000 fans will receive a seat cushion compliments of General Mills. Discounted admission coupons are available at area supermarkets. Game time is at 7 and the gates open at 6. Now here's a look at the Colonels homestand schedule.
Looking for food and fun in a casual atmosphere? Then drop anchor at the Sandbar and Grill, downstairs at Dockside. The Sandbar is a great place to get together with friends or relax out on the deck and enjoy the view with an ice-cold import or our own microbrew, Captain Keel's Pale Ale. At night, we fire up the grill to make your favorite sandwiches. Whether you come by land or by sea, we have a parking spot for you. The Sandbar and Grill, downstairs at Dockside, 1895 Ellis Boulevard, Cedar Rapids.
You're watching Fox 28 and 40. We got game.
No score in the top of the third inning, and holy cow. Harry Carey and Ron Santo said in the papers today he thought that the Cubs felt Harry's presence yesterday and maybe a little help on that ball in the ivy. A swing and a long foul down the left field line by Charlie O'Brien. Magglio Ordonez hit a ball in the ivy that would have scored Will Cordero all the way from first base. But with a ground rule double, the runner had to go back to third. And O'Brien has a 1-ball 1-strike count here. And what is Santos, the name of his book, For the Love of Ivy? The Cubs fans loved it yesterday. I think the White Sox wanted to bring some weed killer with them. Nice change of pace by Tapani. 1 ball and 2 strikes. And it was Bill Veeck who put the ivy in here at Wrigley Field.
1937. You know, this is the only outfield that's not padded. That's brick underneath that ivy, and these guys can get hurt hitting this wall.
A foul by O'Brien. And let's take a look at the play we're talking about with Magglio Ordonez at the plate yesterday. This is in the 8th inning. That's a smart play by Jose Hernandez. Didn't reach into the ivy. And there's Ron Santo. Was talking about maybe getting a little help from Harry Carey's spirit here yesterday, but that certainly was a major play. And the Cubs were able to hold the White Sox. And it stayed tied until the 12th inning when Brant Brown homered. O'Brien hits it to deep short. Blauser. O'Brien is out at first base. Blauser threw out his former teammate.
Wow, that was a terrific play, but that was very close play at first base, because here's the backhand by Blauser. He's way out in the grass. Now it's a jump past the first base, but watch Brant Brown to first base and come off the base real quick. Now that is a trick that first baseman will do. Now here it is again. Charlie jumping for the base, but see, as Brant Brown is cheating, he's bringing his foot off the base early to make it look like he caught the ball early.
Was he really cheating though?
Well, maybe that's not good terminology, but he was using his head, because what the umpire will look at is the foot on the base, and he'll listen for the sound. And you know,
listen for that ball into the mitt.
That's right. So the good experienced first baseman on a bang bang play like that say, what do we have to lose? A quick pull the foot off, you know, so you hear the sound and the foot's coming off.
And that's called cheating off the bag.
Well, if you call it cheating, yes.
Scott Air with a big swing. 1 ball 2 strikes. Pitcher facing pitcher. Air 1 hit in 2 at bats from interleague play last season. Down the left field line, and it's going to go out of play.
You know, John, when you talk about Scott Air, and I know you probably have all season long in your White Sox broadcast, he's quite a story. When you realize that he missed parts of 2 seasons, he had the Tommy John surgery on his elbow. To even be back in the big leagues is something.
Lays off the high pitch, a 2-2 count. Came over from the Texas Rangers organization. Esteban Beltre went to Texas in the deal. An infielder for a pitcher. Right down the middle, and Air says it's time to take a seat. He knew it when he saw the pitch cross the plate. For Tapani, that's his first strikeout. So Tapani has allowed 1 hit 1 time through the lineup. Now Tapani's record is 1-5 career against the White Sox with a 5.27 ERA. And at Wrigley Field, though, he's been dominating. 13 starts, only 1 loss, and an ERA under 2. Went 6-0 in 97 here at Wrigley. But to have an ERA under 2 anywhere is amazing these days.
You're not kidding. Remember, he pitched in the Homer Dome in Minnesota as his home park for so many years and kept his ERA down. That's saying something.
Ray Durham, the first time up, grounded out, a 1-1 count on the White Sox second baseman. When the White Sox got to Tapani, now Tapani's 1-5 against the White Sox career. They seemed to get to him the 4th, 5th, or 6th inning.
I remember when we used to face him. Yeah, the 2nd or 3rd time through, we started to see the ball better.
That's in the gap in left center field, and watch Durham run now with that ball hitting down. The center fielder Terrell Lowry gets to it, and Durham's already at second base. Durham can fly. He was pulling up at second just as Lowry released the throw to the infield.
Now that's going to make Durham feel pretty good after a sleepless night, but that's a high pitch. That's not where Tapani wanted the ball, and Ray Durham shot it into left center field, and look at him go. Look at him come around the bases. He knows this ball's in front of him. He doesn't need any help from the coach, and he's hauling to second base. He's taking a big sigh of relief out there after yesterday's nightmare.
100th career double for Ray Durham. A shot to left center field with 2 outs against Tapani in the 3rd inning at Wrigley Field. Mike Caruso working on a 6-game hitting streak. Wraps that one to right field. A long run in for Sammy Sosa, and he missed it. Durham scores on the play. Caruso goes for second, and the White Sox lead 1-0 in the 3rd. With Sosa's speed, he was closing in, but on the dive couldn't retire Mike Caruso.
John, as soon as that ball was hit, it was not hit real well. Sammy Sosa took a half a step back. See, as this swing looks like, it looks like a powerful swing, but it really wasn't hit well. Sammy took a step back, then tried to make up for it with his speed, and he dove for it, and it looked like that was one of those balls that by that extra dive, it fooled him where it was, because he reached out for it. He really didn't have to dive in that direction forward. He had to go over to the side for it.
The 7th double for Mike Caruso, his 22nd RBI. Yesterday, Chicago took an early 2-0 lead after 2 outs. They have a 1-0 lead today with 2 outs. And the breaking ball misses wide to Frank Thomas, who popped out to 3rd in the 1st inning.
Well, obviously, Kevin Tapani's got to be disappointed. He wanted to get Caruso out. He didn't want to run into Thomas and Bell, and he made the pitch, and he got a pop-up. But he's got to bow his neck now, which a veteran pitcher is normally able to try to do.
And he finds the inside corner. That's a pitch that has given Frank Thomas fits from the first day he stepped into a major league ballpark. And they've been calling the inside corner strike in the American League on Frank Thomas.
Well, absolutely. The book is to get it in there. Now, Frank still doesn't think that's a strike. And when I used to throw batting practice to him, he'd say, Skip, that's not a strike. I said, Frank, it is.
Same spot. 1-2 on Frank Thomas.
See, he is very frustrated. He thinks that those are balls. And as good a hitter as Frank is, and they're both selective. Here's the same pitch again, even a little higher. Frank, those pitches were not called on him for the last 3 or 4 years. And now all of a sudden this year they seem to be calling it more on the inside part of the plate, and it has frustrated him so much that he's starting to pull off the ball a little bit.
Thomas hits it to left field. Henry Rodriguez, he's on the spot. And Thomas lines out, and he's 4 for 25 career against Tapani. But the White Sox scored a 2-out run. The Cubs are coming up in the 3rd, down by a run.
Long after the fans and players have gone home, the 4 billion TV watchers have switched off, and all the others have taken their billboards down. One company will still be there, pushing to make a ball that goes even faster, shoes that make players even more powerful. Because to us, each World Cup is a signpost, not a destination.
Do you like legs? Well, here's an attractive set. All-you-can-eat snow crab legs at Red Lobster for only $13.99.
That's what I want. Legs.
Bottomless buckets of meaty, succulent snow crab legs. All you can eat at a price you can't resist. So shake a leg. And hurry in for all-you-can-eat snow crab legs. At Red Lobster, because life on land is dry.
Were you born without a soul?
Excuse me?
You don't know how to love, do you?
What are you talking about?
I'm talking about this.
It's just an oil filter.
Just an oil filter? Look, nothing stops more dirt than America's #1 brand of oil filter, Fram. Now get out of here. How do you live with yourself?
Fram oil filters. Pay a little more now or pay a lot later.
I guess I didn't know. 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 I guess I didn't know.
Stanley Cup Finals as the Capitals battle the defending champion Red Wings. Tuesday at 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific.
With two doubles, the White Sox grabbed a 1-0 lead in the top of the third inning. It's 8-9-1 in the order for the Cubs at Wrigley Field in the bottom of the third. The Cubs won yesterday's game in 12 innings. One strike on Scott Service. He went 0 for 5 in the opening game of the series with a walk. And there are his numbers for 1998, a .218 average, 3 homers and 13 RBIs. The slurve by Scott Air, a ball. 1 ball and 1 strike.
John, now yesterday's game, this park played pretty big because the wind was blowing in. Right now, there's hardly any wind at all. This is just a little bigger than a Little League park right now. And a day like this, a ball will really jump.
In left center field, a long run for Ordonez. Bell, neither can get there. Ordonez has to play it on a hop. And there's a hit for the Cubs, their first of the day. Scott Air will face Kevin Tapani now with nobody out in the third. Yesterday was Scott Air's first look at Wrigley Field, and when we spoke to Scott, we got his reaction on the friendly confines.
As soon as we got here, I got dressed and walked down, and just to look around and see it, and it's pretty exciting to see, you know, the history that's here, how old the stadium is, and it's a thrill to be here finally. And we drove up here last year, my wife and I, and she asked if I wanted to come by the stadium and look at it. I said, nah, I want to play there and look at it for the first time. So this is the first time I've ever even seen it.
And he has allowed 1 hit through 2 1/3 innings, and a well-executed sacrifice by Tapani, his 3rd sacrifice bunt of the season. That's the 29th for the Cubs this season.
John, you're right on. This was perfectly executed. Bat angle was good. Got the ball down to the right side. This is what you need in the National League. That pitcher's got to be able to get those runners over. Boy, that kills the managers in this league when you're giving up an out and you don't get the runner over. It's not easy to bunt. You know, a lot of people say the art is lost in baseball. It isn't. It's not an easy thing to do, especially if you have a guy that throws the ball hard up in the strike zone. But it's a big part of the National League game.
You know, you say the art is lost, the art of bunting. I've been hearing that since I was a kid.
Sure.
On the right side of the infield, Frank Thomas can't make the play, and as it ricochets off his glove, it goes past Ray Durham, and it's a tie game. Scott Service scores as Manny Alexander put the ball in play on the right side of the infield, and that's the 2nd White Sox error today.
Remember that Frank Thomas has not been out there playing first base this year.
It's his 8th start at first base.
And here's a ball that is hit to the right side. He goes over for it. He reaches for it, and it just hits off his glove, and he deflects it the other side of Ray Durham. 8 times out on the field, and not too many. That's not that you don't get in a flow of things when you don't play regularly.
The 54th error on the White Sox, the most in the American League, and that's why their record is 24-34. Scott Air's not the only pitcher on the White Sox staff to be victimized by the poor play in the field. The thing that frustrates Jerry Manuel the most is the inconsistency. Because, Jeff, you saw the game here yesterday. Both teams were sharp. They were playing their games when they play at their best. The White Sox were quite competitive and had chances to win the ball game. But they didn't make an error yesterday. Today they've made 2.
It kills you, John.
And they made 2 errors on what looked like routine plays.
Yeah, absolutely. And that really does hurt you. And really what it does, especially with an inexperienced staff, pitching staff, it really hurts that pitcher. He needs all the help he can get. You can't give extra outs in innings.
The 1-0 pitch to Terrell Lowry. 1 ball and 1 strike, and Lowry was the first of 3 strikeout victims for Scott Air today.
You know, earlier in the game I talked about Frank Thomas. Frank always had good hands. He really did. He's a good athlete. He just had trouble throwing. Remember, this man is 6'5", somewhere between 270 and 280. He's just real big, and he does not throw real well, but he always had good hands.
And on the pop-up, it goes to the roof of Wrigley Field. 1 ball and 2 strikes on Lowry. Nardi Contreras is the new pitching coach for the White Sox. It's been about a month in the White Sox uniform, replacing Mike Pasick, who has been reassigned in the organization. And also Von Joshua has taken over as the new hitting coach here, with Ron Jackson being released.
Well, you hate to see coaching changes. You know, the coaches work so hard. Nardi Contreras had just gotten fired in Seattle because their pitching staff was struggling so badly up there. But Jerry Manuel had worked with Nardi in the minor leagues with the Expos.
And there's Von Joshua, the hitting coach for the White Sox, who had been working in the minor league system with Chicago.
Well, he was an old teammate of mine with the Dodgers. He does know how to hit. He was a good hitter. And I understand that the kids in the minor leagues with the White Sox love him.
And that's one reason he was brought on board. He had worked with Abbott, with Norton, and many of the other young players, Maglia, Ordonez. Manny Alexander at first base has 4 steals, while being thrown out 1 time. As you look in on Terrell Lowry.
You know, another thing, coaches really, or I should say managers really need some coaches around them that they feel are their people. And that's not to say that Ronnie Jackson was not Jerry Manuel's person, but you have to, as a manager, have to have a coach or coaches that you have worked with or feel comfortable with.
When you saw Joe Nosick alongside Jerry Manuel.
Yes.
There's the White Sox manager, Jerry Manuel. Now, Joe was on the bench with you.
He was on the bench with me in Cleveland, and he was on the bench with me with the White Sox as a beach ball gets loose in the outfield here at Wrigley. But you have to have people that you can rely on, people you know are loyal, people that you really have great confidence in, but also people that you know that the players are comfortable with. Now, that not too bad on the other side, Hall of Famer Billy Williams in the Cub dugout. You know, it's the same type of thing. Phil Regan, the pitching coach, you know, another had been with the Cubs, another teammate of mine. I guess when you're old enough, you'll play with everybody when you look down in the field.
Maybe we should go with the guys that you haven't played with. And the fans boo as Scott Air is keeping a watchful eye on Manny Alexander. Alexander reached on an error. The error allowed Scott Service to score. I told you a moment ago that Alexander has 4 steals, only thrown out once. But Frank Thomas holding over at first. Now a 3-2 count. A 3-2 count on Terrell Lowry with Brent Brown coming up next. And a run in the Cubs' third.
Well, here's a situation right now that Manny Alexander might run. He has not been getting a good lead. He has not had a good read on left-handed slants of air going to first.
And he is running. Lowry tried to shoot the ball to right field. So Alexander will reset, and another 3-2 pitch coming up. Scott Air hasn't walked anybody. He has struck out 3. That gives him 46 strikeouts to 41 walks.
John, now you look, the Manny Alexander is really looking. Do you see this line in the dirt? See the line in the dirt? That tells Manny Alexander how far he can get out on his lead. He's not sure with a left-hander on the mound, but that's his mark.
And on the right side, that's a hit to right field for Lowry. But Alexander wasn't running on that pitch as he was the one before. Had he been running, he'd be a runner at third base for the Cubs now.
John, he just wasn't comfortable. You watched he did not get out. He didn't spread his feet. He stood upright. He didn't even get to his own line. So when this ball went to right field, all he could do was go to second base. If he had been moving, or if he could have anticipated a little bit more of a lead, he probably could have gone to third base.
And you know what, Jeff, on the foul ball before that base hit, Alexander got a late start for second base.
Yes,
he wasn't really getting a good read on Air.
No, he didn't feel comfortable at all. You can really see it.
Now the Cubs have runners at first and second with 1 out. Brant Brown up. Brown was called out on strikes. That might be the best pitching to a single batter for Air the first time through the lineup when Brant was called out in the first inning. Starts him with a big curveball.
Well, remember the ball that he hit yesterday to win the game was off a left-hander, Tony Castillo, and it was a hanging breaking ball. Now Air, as we mentioned earlier, has this great big breaking ball, a slurve, Charlie O'Brien called it. Let's see how much he tries to feed the left-hander Brown.
Another breaking ball, and that's fouled on the right field line. Brown has been tough with runners in scoring position, batting .321 this season. He has Alexander at second right now and Terrell Lowry at first base. You know, going back to talking about a lead for just a moment, as you see the runners reset, what did Maury Wills say about getting the best possible lead?
Well, he had different types of lead. He had what he called a one-way lead, where he got way out to see if they'd throw over, where he would only be going back to the base. Then he would get out where he was safe. It would be where it would take 2 steps and a dive to get back.
Another breaking ball to Brant Brown, 2-1.
So in other words, he got far enough out, though, when he took 2 steps and dove back, he would be safe. That was the lead he felt comfortable with.
I remember Lou Brock saying that you want to take as big a lead as possible so your hand hits the bag the moment the tag hits your body.
Yes.
Then you know you're out there as far as you can go. A strike on the outside part of the plate. 2-2 on Brant Brown with 2 on and 1 out. Each team has scored in the third inning. 1-1. The Cubs and the White Sox at Wrigley Field.
John, this is a big at bat right here. This is a nice matchup. 2-2 count, left against left.
And a second time today for Air getting Brown on a called third strike. The fourth strikeout for the White Sox lefty.
Well, you know what Brant Brown was looking for. He was looking for another big breaking ball, and Charlie O'Brien called a fastball on the outside part of the plate and froze him. Because normally when you have a left against left, the left-handed hitter becomes a high ball hitter, and he had just seen a lot of breaking stuff. He thought the pitch before the strikeout was just a setup pitch. He was looking for another breaking ball and was frozen.
Here's Sammy Sosa, and check out that average at .341, 17 home runs. Ball one, and let's take a look at strike three on Brant Brown once more.
Now he does not even offer on this to show you he was fooled, just flat out fooled by the pitch. He was looking for the big breaking ball.
26-year-old Scott Air, a no decision against the New York Yankees on Monday of this week. Sosa, did he lay off the change? Yes, according to Bruce Dreckman, the first base umpire. Well, I talked about Sammy Sosa's average at .341. Let's see where he hits the ball. His hits by direction.
And this indicates why his average is up. Anytime you see a hitter, especially a power hitter, use the whole field the way Sammy is now, that's why he's hitting for a high average. He has changed his stance a little. He's lowered his hands from last year, but he's being more selective. The new hitting coach, Jeff Pentland, has got him to be more selective.
Sosa fouls it at the plate. A 2-1 count on Sammy with 2 on. I remember when Bill White came up. He was having trouble hitting with the Cardinals, and he was one of their prospects. And Harry the Hat Walker said, now you want to keep hitting the ball to right field, you can go back to the minor leagues and do that. You want to start using the whole field, then you can stick around. And Bill White turned in a great major league career.
Absolutely, and that's what Sammy is doing. He's lowered his hands. They're down a little lower from where they were last year.
Out of play on the right side for Sammy Sosa. 2 balls, 2 strikes with 2 on and 2 out.
And by lowering his hands and also getting your mindset that you're not going to swing as big. With his hands real high, if his hands were way up in this area here, then it would be a big loopy swing like this. Now with his hands lower, he gets to the ball quicker. Now that allows him to use the whole field. But he's so strong, he doesn't need a big swing.
He's strong with very quick wrists.
Yes.
Charlie wanted the ball inside. 3-2 on Sammy Sosa. O'Brien set up an inside target.
Yeah, what happens a lot of times with a young pitcher, when you go inside and you know you got a power hitter at the plate, you feel I got to throw this harder than any pitch I've thrown. Excuse me, and he overthrew the ball up and away.
Sammy Sosa, the only Cub ever to have a 30-30 season in homers and steals. 93 and 95 he did that. And he takes a walk here, loading the bases for Jeff Blauser. Manny Alexander is on third, Terrell Lowry at second base, and Sosa at first with 2 out.
Now as Nardi Contreras, the pitching coach, goes out to the mound, that was a call by Charlie O'Brien. He was not going to give Sammy Sosa a pitch that in baseball terminology would have been a cripple pitch. Sammy Sosa sitting on a 3-2 fastball in the middle of the plate could really do damage, so they threw him a breaking ball low and in. All right, you just get a whole new count now against Jeff Blauser, who's a good hitter, but not as difficult a hitter to pitch to as Sammy Sosa. Not a bad pitch count at 49 at this particular point. Air has really shown poise to me, John. I have been impressed with the way he has handled a couple difficult situations after the errors.
Now Air is trying to work around an error this inning and trying to get Jeff Blauser with the bases loaded, while Blauser can punch an early hole in the game. A 1-1 score. He has 4 slams career with the bases loaded. A .275 average to his career with the bases full.
Jeff Blauser is a high ball hitter. If he gets the ball up, he can drive it.
In left field, that's going to get down for a hit. It scores Alexander. Lowry crosses the plate, and Sosa stops at second. And the Cubs have a 3-run third inning and a 2-run lead.
Well, we said he's a high ball hitter. Watch where the pitch is. Jeff Blauser really likes the ball up. Typical right-handed hitter. Watch where it is. See where it is? It's belt high. And that's considered up. See where the pitch comes across, and that enables him to elevate it. If the ball were down, he'd probably get a ground ball to shortstop.
Jeff Blauser was 1 for 10 coming into this series. And now he has 4 hits and 7 at bats in the series. RBIs 10 and 11 for Blauser this season. And here's Henry Rodriguez with a chance to get some more runs for the Cubs, who lead by 2. He reached on an error but was stranded at second base in the second inning. Now 2-0 count on Henry Rodriguez. Henry Rodriguez, the batter.
I was talking to Ron Santo before the game about Henry Rodriguez. They said every home run and every big RBI situation, this guy's hits have counted, every one. You know, his average is down. They're checking to see whether he went through with a swing. That's what you teach your catchers. Anytime the hitter even flinches with a bat, you want the catcher to go to the umpire on the open side to see if they can call a swing on a particular pitch.
But Charlie Williams extended the arms for no swing call. 3-0 on Henry Rodriguez. Oh, Henry is swinging on 3-0 and a fly ball left field. Bell at the wall. He jumps and makes the catch. He had to go into that cutout area in left field. If it had been just a little bit to Bell's left, that would have been out. The Cubs have grabbed the lead after 3.
Gary Sheffield, outstanding bat speed. Pull the ball with the best of them.
The secret to MLB 99's realism? Scouting reports straight from the pros.
Favorite cheese Gouda. Bobby Bonilla, weakness for fastballs in the dirt. Has a dog named Snacks.
Oh, that's impressive.
I knew that. You drive a 71 Nova, make $22,000 a year, and you were a bedwetter.
Hey, better.
PlayStation. Mark, if you're at the airport before my 8 o'clock flight, maybe we can talk. Otherwise, it's over.
Come on. Come on. I'll start. Oh, no. That's battery.
No matter what my customers drive, they depend on AC Delco batteries. They last up to 30% longer.
I'm sure they do. Just give me the generic equivalent, okay?
AC Delco. If you're not asking for it, you're asking for it.
I can't believe I can get this close with an electric shaver. This is smooth.
We're introducing men to the power of 3. The new Remington Microscreen 3.
So fast.
It gives you 3 things no other shaver can. The most powerful motor of all leading brands, 150 precision cutting edges, and 3 flexing microscreens. Guaranteed to get you incredibly close, incredibly fast. The power of 3. Only with the new Remington Microscreen 3. Built to shave incredibly close.
You disappear.
For a few hours, you become a yelling, screaming, thrill-seeking, horse-loving, king-crazy pirate man. Go, baby, go!
Fire like this. Real quiet, 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 real quiet.
They're trapped at the center of the earth.
I'm gonna die friendless and alone like Weird Al Yankovic.
On King of the Hill, Sunday at 8:30, 7:30 Central.
Jeff Blauser came up with the bases loaded in the bottom of the 3rd inning, and let's give you the sounds of the game. Listen in.
He's going to be trying to get ahead of the count right here. I hope Blauser jumps on that first good fat. Look at that hole in left center. And then it's corre duro todos.
A base hit, 2 runs scored, and the Cubs have a 3-1 lead. Now the White Sox bat in the 4th inning. You got all that, didn't you?
I don't know what he said, but he was right about jumping that first pitch and hitting it to left field. You know, John, I've been watching the flags that you have to do here. It's all of a sudden there's a little coolness in the air, and the wind is starting to shift like it's coming in.
Albert Bell hits it high in the air. The center fielder, Terrell Lowry, picks it up now, and Sammy Sosa says, don't worry, I have it. Lowry didn't see the ball off the bat, did he?
See it, and I'll tell you why. Check the flags. That's what you have to do in this ballpark and every ballpark. When you go out to your position in the outfield, check the flags, even throw grass in the air to see the way the wind is blowing quickly, especially anywhere around the lake here. See, he wasn't sure of this ball. The wind has changed that rapidly. The ball that ended the inning, the ball that Henry Rodriguez hit, was hit with no wind blowing at all. It was a pop-up and almost went out of the stadium, and now the wind has shifted.
Robin Ventura's the batter, and the wind is blowing from the left field corner to the right field corner. Ventura got a hit the first time up. Is batting .292. He hits this one into center field. Lowry broke back. Now he has the play. They're 2 up and 2 out on fly ball outs for Kevin Tapani.
I used to hear when Don Zimmer was managing the Cub ball club, he would say, I have to manage differently on different days because this is 2 different ballparks. If you come to this ballpark and the wind is blowing in a gale or blowing off the lake, the ball doesn't carry. But if the wind is blowing out or it's not blowing at all, this can be a launching pad, this ballpark.
Here's Will Cordero. He bounced out his first time up. Is it true Zimmer wouldn't talk to you after the 1990 game here for Charity?
Yeah, we talked about, it's an exhibition game, but the game ended with a throw out at home plate. And the White Sox, we won the game. And I went to say goodbye to Zim on the other side. Get out of here, he says. I don't want to talk to you.
Cordero with a 2-0 count. And a big swing on the breaking ball by Cordero. 2-1. Cordero has 6 hits in his last 15 at bats, including 4 doubles. He had a hit here yesterday, going 1 for 5 and scored a run. Tapani gives him a fastball and sends it to Sammy Sosa. 1-2-3 go the White Sox in the 4th inning. The Cubs are coming up with a 2-run lead in this Crosstown Classic.
Insuring over 40 million people worldwide. For 75 years, Warner Brothers has brought you the faces you'll never forget and the moments you'll always remember.
Well, happy anniversary.
To celebrate, we've created the 75th Anniversary Video Collection.
Yeah, happy 75th, Warner Brothers.
For every reason you love great movies.
Here's to 75 glorious years, Warner Brothers.
Now is the time to make them yours.
I've got mine.
Warner Brothers 75th Anniversary Video Collection.
Here's looking at 75 years, kid.
So come to Wendy's for a 99-cent junior bacon.
Man, that cheeseburger looks good. I love bacon. You fly, I'll buy. No, you go to Wendy's and I'll buy. Plus, I'll throw in Biggie fries. Yeah, well, I'll throw in Biggie fries and Biggie drinks.
When the craving hits for a Wendy's hot and juicy 99-cent junior bacon cheeseburger with 2 strips of bacon, you'll do anything to get one.
Junior bacon cheeseburgers, Biggie fries, Biggie drinks, and gas for your car. I don't have a car. Well, I'll buy you one.
Hey, for a car, I'll go.
Dave?
Greetings. Having heard us describe the problems with our old communications programs, the MCI team is prepared to demonstrate solutions. On this afternoon's dance card, multi-point video conferencing that lets you meet with far-flung clients and colleagues without ever leaving your desk. The MCI team even devised a way for me to participate. The silver screen.
How far will Mulder go to save Scully?
I'm offering you a chance to know the truth. In exchange for what?
Come work for me. The X-Files, Sunday at 9, 8 Central on Fox.
With the Chicago skyline in the background, here's today's Aflac trivia question. Which 3 current Cubs previously played for the Chicago White Sox? Don't answer, Jeff. I know you know, and we'll pass along the answer in a moment. Jose Hernandez goes after the first Scott Air pitch in the 4th inning, 1 strike, with the Cubs leading here 3-1. We just don't have the energy in the crowd that was displayed here yesterday.
No, I agree with you. This place was rocking, but it could happen.
1 ball and 1 strike to count. Oh, with the energy that was used up during the game yesterday, the game going 12 innings, and then the Bulls went right down to the final seconds last night against Utah. A drive left field, hit well, and it's going to leave Wrigley Field. A home run for Jose Hernandez. That's the 16th home run allowed by Scott Air as Hernandez hits his 6th home run of the year. The home run ball has been a problem for Scott Air in 1998. He gave up 3 against the Yankees in a no-decision Monday.
And here's the pitch. It's right in the middle of the plate. It's right in the heart where you can turn on the ball. And Scott Air doesn't throw hard enough to throw that ball past him in the middle.
Service hits the ball hard into center field. Ordonez started in and has to run back to make the catch. 1 out in the 4th inning, and Tapani will be the batter. The Cubs are up there swinging.
And now, after that home run, there's still some buzzing going on, and that's what can happen at a ballpark. You know, normally when you talk about other sports where you try to keep the fans out of the game, like in a home court advantage, like in basketball, it can happen in a baseball stadium as well. If you are pitching well and pitching sets the tone, you can quiet a crowd down quickly. But you're right. Yesterday, from pitch 1 to the end of that game, there was a buzzing. And at the end of the game, everybody was on their feet.
Kevin Tapani with a 2-0 count here, pitcher against pitcher. But I got the feeling yesterday, and Jeff, you grew up on the East Coast when the Giants and the Yankees and the Dodgers were in New York. But listening to the old radio replays of Russ Hodges and the great announcers from New York, you just heard that muted sound. You could barely hear the announcer over the crowd. And there's a drive into right field, hit well. Cordero back to the wall, and it's off the wall. Kevin Tapani goes into second with a 1-out double. So even the pitcher is getting into the act in the 4th inning as the Cubs are going up there hitting the ball hard off Scott Air.
Well, there's a reason for it. Watch where this pitch is. Again, that's even a little higher in the middle of the plate. Scott Air, I wonder if those extra outs by those errors really have taken its toll on this young left-hander. It almost looks, you know, when you get tired, you stop locating well. You might still have the same stuff, but you can't throw the ball where you want it. He has not located well.
Manny Alexander, and a good stop by Charlie O'Brien, holding Tapani to second base. Well, you know what I'm talking about. Mel Allen and Russ Hodges, Red Barber. You hear those old replays, and you can just barely make out the play-by-play because the fans are in a frenzy. And that's the way it was here yesterday at Wrigley Field.
You're not kidding.
It was a lot of fun to be a part of that ball game.
This is a special rivalry. I know people say, well, you're making too much of it. It is special. I was part of the Giant-Dodger rivalry.
Alexander with a big swing, fouls it over the screen.
And also with the Dodger-Angel rivalry. You know, when you're talking about teams in the same locale, well, the Dodger-Giant rivalry was different on the West Coast than it was in New York. But yesterday, when I saw what was going on here and the Cub fans on one side of the field were trying to outshout the White Sox fan on the other side of the field, I saw that back in '89 here and couldn't believe it.
To right field, out of play, and that's a souvenir.
You know, the players try to play it down, as you mentioned earlier. They try to say, well, it's just another game. To the fans, this is war. And it really is across town because, you know, when you're in this area here, as Mark Grace has said, he said, you know, nobody roots for both of them. Now, here are 2 leaders of the 2 clubs sitting together.
Jerry Reinsdorf on the right and Andy MacPhail. MacPhail was with the Twins for a couple of world championships. The foul by Alexander, 1 ball, 2 strikes. And Jerry Reinsdorf, the chairman of the board of the White Sox and the Bulls.
But the people in town, the fans in town, as Mark Grace said, do not root for both teams. It's either or, and they hate the other team.
A strike on the inside corner with Alexander jumping out of the way, and he'll have a word with Ed Rapuano, the home plate umpire.
Well, that's a very strange look. I don't know if that's a good acting job or he was really fooled or the pitch was not there. Oh, that ball crossed the plate. That was a good call. Charlie O'Brien might have caught it inside a little bit, but where it crossed the plate was a good pitch. That just fooled Manny Alexander. He was looking out over.
That's 5 strikeouts for Air. Lowry sends this one in the air to right field. Will Cordero, and the fans get into it a little bit, and Cordero puts the squeeze on this one. So we've played through 4. The Cubs are leading the White Sox 4-1.
They're at the top of the lane of the Derby, and Real Quiet gets the lead. Real Quiet wins the Kentucky Derby. Real Quiet to the front, and he's pulling away. Real Quiet, the Derby winner, gets the Preakness.
If you want to see Derby and Preakness winner Real Quiet try for the first Triple Crown in 20 years, bring your Visa card. Because Because you won't get past the gate at the Belmont Stakes using American Express. Visa, proud sponsor of the Visa Triple Crown Challenge.
How's Max doing?
He's doing okay. So how long before Max can play again?
Well, the vet said Max will be back to his old self in a couple of days.
Even the interior of the Chevy Blazer was designed to give you peace of mind. Chevy Blazer, a little security in an insecure world.
You know what it takes to be an all-star? Hitting, fielding, base running. All-Star Baseball 99 lives up to its name. The only baseball game on N64 with high-res graphics, real-life player faces, and batting stances. And the only 4-player baseball game on N64. Wrap your rumble pack around that. All-Star Baseball 99. Looks like we've got ourselves a new MVP. Acclaim Sports. Sweat the details.
Zero-pressure Michelin. So revolutionary it won't go flat, even with the puncture the size of a golf ball, letting you drive up to 50 miles at 55 miles per hour. Just what you'd expect from Michelin.
For all the latest news and best highlights,
It's a 3-home-run night for Big Mac.
tune into Fox Sports News. Weeknights, check local listings.
Kevin Tapani is sailing along for the Cubs with a 3-run lead, allowing 3 White Sox hits. And Magglio Ordonez, his first pitch swinging, 1 strike on the White Sox center fielder. Ordonez bounced out to second baseman Manny Alexander in the second inning. And he's 1 out of 6, a double and an RBI in this 2-game series against the Chicago Cubs. Kevin Tapani. He was with the New York Mets and then traded over to the Minnesota Twins when Andy McPhail was the general manager there. Tapani and Scott Erickson anchored the starting rotation in the 1991 World Championship rotation. A strike to Ordonez, 1 ball and 2 strikes. Ordonez, O'Brien, and Air this inning, Jeff.
Excuse me, John. You have been watching Ordonez hit. He's not a real big guy, but he's powerfully built. But he's got that big powerhouse high hand, holding his hands high and pushing his weight back that power hitters use. And this kid is a good hitter. What was he, the batting champion
and the MVP of the American Association in the final year of that minor league, AAA last year.
Oh, look at this up here. You can see how his hands are high and he leans back. You can see where his power comes from as he lines this ball down the left field line.
And he's going to get a single out of it with Rodriguez playing over in that direction. Ordonez is on, leading off the 5th. And here's our Aflac trivia question today. Which 3 current Cubs previously played for the Chicago White Sox? The answer is Sammy Sosa, Kevin Tapani, and Lance Johnson. And you knew that.
No, I sure did. I wish Lance was healthy playing here. You know, Lance is a real gamer, exceptional center fielder, but he's really been banged up, a bad hand.
He's having a difficult time gripping the bat. He said he hasn't been able to face live pitching.
Can't close his hand. He had pulled something on the back of his left hand, swinging a weighted bat in a flip drill. You know, Lance has really been a good hitter throughout his career. The only hitter in the history of the game to lead each league in number of base hits, and he did it back-to-back years.
Charlie O'Brien hits this one to Hernandez. The play is at first base. Ordonez goes to second, 1 out. Next week on Fox Saturday Baseball's Game of the Week, we have American League rivals clashing as the Indians battle the best in baseball. The New York Yankees and the Cleveland Indians, plus other regional action. Coverage begins 1 Eastern and Pacific. Check your local listings for the game and the time in your area. St. Louis and Arizona will be in one of the regions, and we'll have the Cubs and the Philadelphia Phillies.
And that Yankee-Indian matchup. You know, we were talking about rivalries, and in New York you hear about the Yankee-Red Sox rivalry. Well, back when I was growing up in New Jersey, the Yankees had a great rivalry with those great Indians.
How about National League Series?
Absolutely.
It went 5 games. Wallace Johnson, you saw the third base coach for the White Sox. Scott Ayers 0 for 1 today. How to play it goes. And Ayer has a chance to help himself with Ordonez at second and perhaps return the favor as Tapani got a double off Ayer when the two faced the last go around when the Cubs were at bat. Tapani is very steady on the mound, isn't he, Jeff? Just watching how he was reacting to Ordonez dance at second base.
Absolutely, and he's got a beautiful delivery. There's no wasted motion. That's why he throws with such pinpoint control. When you have a pitcher that has a delivery, and there's Phil Regan, who had a funky delivery, ironically, when he pitched, but really new pitching, was a real tough relief pitcher with the Dodgers and the Cubs. But you can see Tapani, when he finishes his pitch, he's a fielder. He's ready.
He really is in good position to catch a ball.
But he doesn't overthrow. He doesn't rush his delivery.
Is he going to change him up here? He sure did.
Yeah.
Got him with the changeup.
Well, that was a good call, John, because you were watching him wiggle the ball behind his back. When a pitcher uses his grip, some will do it in his glove. Will change the grip. Watch the grip. As he delivers the ball, you can see he's on top of the ball and he's leading with the elbow. This is that real good changeup he throws. He used to throw a split finger, but he can't any longer. That's a circle change where he puts his index and thumb together, index finger and thumb together on his throwing hand. That locks his wrist. He can't use the split finger anymore because he can't spread his fingers as far as he used to before the hand surgery.
Ray Durham takes ball one. Tapani was sitting in the dugout at Yankee Stadium when he pitched for the White Sox, and a line drive hit him on the pitching hand. Then while with the Cubs, had to undergo surgery, and it cut away most of the first year he was with the Cubs. It took him out of action while rehabbing the surgery. And with a ball to Ray Durham, 2 balls and no strikes. But Tapani, he'll throw the changeup anytime, anywhere.
You're not kidding. That was another one right there. And the circle change, what it really is we were talking about it, when you're putting a circle on the side of the ball with the index finger and your thumb, that means you're holding it with your other 3 fingers and you pronate it, and it has action almost like a screwball, and it'll go down. And of course, by locking your wrist, you don't throw the ball very hard.
Ray Durham, a 3-0 count. If he gets on, Mike Caruso will bat. Magglio Ordonez is at second base. And here's the last pitch to Durham.
Well, as you can watch, this is a great camera shot. You can watch a pitcher almost finish and pronate his hand. Everybody does. And see how the ball comes back to the plate.
Ray Durham takes a ball high. He's a base runner with 2 on and 2 out. Here's Mike Caruso. Caruso has driven in the White Sox run today and extended his hitting streak to 7 games with a double in the 3rd.
You know, John, pitchers, especially veteran pitchers, know who they do and do not want to beat them in a lineup. Now, I'm not saying, and I'm not putting down young Caruso as a hitter, but when Tapani got behind Ray Durham, he's probably being more careful. He'll say, well, I'll take a chance with a kid instead of, having to come in with a pitch when I'm down in the count.
Well, that was the first walk given up by Tapani today. It comes in the 5th with 2 down. Ball 1, and perhaps Tapani is just finding it very difficult to find the strike zone here.
He could be there. He kind of fell off and that ball was up. He didn't want that ball up in the plate there. He was going to try to run the ball in. He and Scott Service were going to put it on the inner half of the plate.
Caruso likes the ball up. That's a strike.
You just said Caruso likes the ball up. As a catcher, what you do is look at hitters just to see how you think they're going to approach a ball. Now, Caruso has a flat bat approach. His bat is almost flat. Usually that means high ball hitter. Now, Tapani flipping the ball around in his hand till he gets the grip.
That's popped up. Caruso's not a strong hitter by any means, and his strength is going to pick up. Here's a 21-year-old at the major league level.
Well, here's the flat bat we're talking about. See the flat bat? That way you have trouble getting to this ball here, but you can hit the ball up. See how it flattens out?
And he had trouble reaching the low outside pitch. Lance Johnson had the flat bat and was a good high ball hitter from the left side, and before his hand injury, a very good high ball hitter. Right back through the middle. That's a hit to center field for Caruso. Maglio Ordonez comes around with a second White Sox run. Ray Durham streaks to third. First and third with 2 outs, and the White Sox have scored both of their runs with 2 gone. Caruso has driven in both.
Now that was a nice piece of hitting. That was a good at bat for Caruso. Tapani did not get the ball where he wanted it at all. Watch where they're trying to go away, but see where it is. It's up. If it's down, he'll probably roll over it. It's up. We were talking about as being actually a high pitch in that high stance.
Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on.
And with the base hit by Caruso, Wallace Johnson was busy over at third base, waving Maglio Ordonez around and bringing Durham to third. He was telling Ordonez, come on around, but also telling Ray Durham it's okay to take third base. Frank Thomas is the batter with 2 on. Ball 1 on a slider or a cut fastball outside. Thomas has lined to left field and popped out to third. Batting .268. That really looks strange. 2-0 on Frank Thomas.
Frank really looks frustrated at the plate to me now. His rear end was flying out on those last 2 pitches. He just doesn't look like he feels comfortable at the plate. He's not as selective right now. As I say, when he first came up, he's the most selective big hitter I've ever seen. Now with a lot of those pitches on the inner half being called, he doesn't feel as comfortable.
He pops it up. The second baseman, Manny Alexander. He's under it and makes the catch, and Thomas leaves runners at first and third. But Caruso singled in Maglio Ordonez, and the Cubs have a 4-2 lead halfway through the game.
There's a course that is true. The landing signal officer checks the approach. The weather crew keeps an eye on the storm. The air traffic controller directs every move. The air boss orders a clear deck. The captain gives the final word. And the plane safely lands on board USS Enterprise. In the Navy, no journey is ever made alone. Call 1-800-USA-NAVY. Let the journey begin.
Like legs? Well, here's an attractive set. All you can eat snow crab legs at Red Lobster for only $13.99. That's what I want. Legs. Bottomless buckets of meaty, succulent snow crab legs. All you can eat at a price you can't resist. So shake a leg and hurry in for all you can eat snow crab legs at Red Lobster, because life on land is dry.
Fox Saturday Baseball Game of the Week, brought to you by the U.S. Navy. Navy, let the journey begin. By Michelin, celebrating 100 years of innovation because so much is riding on your tires. By Gap. And by Red Lobster. Come in and see for yourself why life on land is dry at Red Lobster.
Welcome back to the friendly confines of Wrigley Field, and now for our B.F. Goodrich game summary. Kevin Tapani. He's on the upside of a 4-2 ball game, going through his 5 innings. Hernandez a solo home run. Jeff Blauser drove in 2 with a single, and Mike Caruso, the 21-year-old shortstop for the White Sox, has 2 hits and 2 runs batted in. Brad Brown tries to bunt his way on. Brown has been called out on strikes twice today with a foul ball. 0-1 on the Cub first baseman. A late addition to the lineup. If you just joined us, Mark Grace was scratched from the lineup with a sore foot after fouling a pitch off a foot yesterday. He had treatment before the game, was in the whirlpool, and really wanted to play today, but it's really sore. Here's a ground ball to Ventura, backhanded to the bag. 1 out in the 5th inning, and Brown is 0 for 3 after winning yesterday's game with a 12th inning home run. So look at Robin Ventura. Do you like that look with the sunglasses on the ball caps, Jeff?
Well, I've gotten used to it now, John. You know, in the beginning, I didn't like high-top shoes. I didn't like sweatbands, and I didn't like the pants down around the ankles. But I've gotten used to it. So I know why the guys like those. Those other flip-down glasses are tough to use, you know.
Sammy Sosa is coming up against Scott Air. He has 8 home runs in his last 7 games. He had a home run here yesterday. Today he has fouled out and walked as the Cubs are leading the White Sox 4-2 in the bottom of the 5th. And Sosa with a big swing. It was an interesting development in extra innings yesterday where Jerry Manuel walked 2 to have to face Sosa, and Sosa made the last out where the Cubs could have won the ball game after a Brant Brown double.
Yeah, I was talking to Buck Showalter the other night. You remember he walked Barry Bonds last week with the bases loaded, forcing in a run. So when you have a little situation with a manager and they're playing the odds and their gut feeling, you go with it like that. You look for the hitter where you think you might be able to strike him out.
Sammy Sosa with a 1-1 count. That goes out of play. 3 runs in the 3rd inning for the Cubs after the White Sox scored 1 run in the top of the 3rd, and defense has let the White Sox down today. And Air figured in the 3-run 3rd inning with 2 runs scoring on a Jeff Blauser single, and Jose Hernandez led off the 4th inning with his 6th home run of the year. And Mike Caruso was driven in both of the White Sox runs. That's a strike on the inside corner. Strikeout number 6 for Scott Air. 2 outs in the 5th. Air has had just 2 strikeouts swinging.
Well, here's the last pitch. After having shown everything away, he runs the ball way in. See Charlie O'Brien, his catcher, slide way in.
Well, he's going to make sure that pitch is in there.
Absolutely. That is a good philosophy. We always were taught if you're going to pitch inside and you miss farther in, because if you miss over the plate, that's the sweet spot where the swing comes through.
A ground ball to Ventura. Blauser is out this time after singling in 2 runs in the 3rd. It's a 1-2-3 5th inning, and after 5 complete, the Cubs are leading by 2 at Wrigley Field.
One day, science will create a pill for men's hair loss. That day is today. Introducing Propecia, the first pill for men with certain types of hair loss. In clinical studies, the vast majority of men, 83%, maintained their hair count, and most, 66%, regrew some hair. You may need to take it daily for 3 months or more to see results. Propecia is for men only. A small number of men experience certain sexual side effects. Each occurred in less than 2% of men. Women who are or may potentially be pregnant must not use it or handle broken tablets because of the risk of a specific kind of birth defect. Talk to your doctor or pharmacist and read the consumer information they can provide. It may look like just another pill, but for men who want to treat hair loss, it's a beautiful thing to behold. Propecia, helping make hair loss history.
There are many types of athlete's foot that eat your feet alive. Don't just cure some, kill them all. Lotramin AF. Full prescription strength medicine, the brand doctors recommend most. Lotramin AF, the killer cure.
If your car is sluggish, or you sometimes use a lower quality gasoline, pour a bottle of Techron Concentrate Fuel System Cleaner in your tank. Then fill it with gas. Get the performance you paid for with Techron Concentrate from Chevron.
Pedro Martinez. Kid's got nasty stuff. Best weapons is fastball.
The secret to MLB 99's realism? Scouting reports straight from the pros.
But you gotta remember, he's got a heck of a wild streak.
PlayStation.
Were you born without a soul?
Excuse me?
You don't know how to love, do you?
What are you talking about?
I'm talking about this.
It's just an oil filter.
Just an oil filter? Look, nothing stops more dirt than America's #1 brand of oil filter, Fram. Now get out of here. How do you live with yourself?
Fram oil filters. Pay a little more now, or pay a lot later.
A millionaire con man.
Graham took $13 million from at least 130 victims.
Let's help the FBI take him down. America's Most Wanted, tonight at 9, 8 Central.
4-2 in favor of the Cubs as we go to the 6th inning in the middle of the White Sox order. Coming up, Albert Bell 0 for 2, Robin Ventura 1 for 2, Will Cordero 0 for 2. Facing Kevin Tapani, and there's Albert Bell, the former Cleveland Indian. His 2nd season with the White Sox, and the average is starting to go up for him. He was first pitch swinging. He fouled off a fastball in an earlier at bat going after the first pitch, and Tapani threw in the breaking ball leading off the 6th inning.
Well, he's anticipating hitters. You can see he's looking fastball, and he's already made his commitment. He is so strong. In order to hit the way he hits, with a bat kind of, it's almost in front of his face, and then he gets it back into hitting position.
Fouls it straight back.
You have to be unbelievably strong. Remember, this guy hit 50 home runs and 52 doubles in one season. Now here's where his hands are. He starts here and takes them back. You've got to do that in a hurry. You've got to have perfect timing.
He had his 50-50 home runs and doubles season in 1995. And that was a shortened season. They played 144 games because of the strike.
That's unbelievable. What a year. He's the only man ever to do that in Major League history.
But he's playing in a bigger ballpark now at Comiskey Park. Ball doesn't fly out of Comiskey the way it does Jacobs Field. The 100 RBI, folks, and Bell is a part of it. He's out on strikes here as Tapani did a good job pitching to the power hitter.
John, when he was in his prime, he did not commit like this as much as I've seen him do lately. As you mentioned, in a bigger ballpark. See how he's already committed? His hips are gone. And that's a bad ball. It's not even close to being a strike. It looked like he just didn't see Tapani there, or he was anticipating something else.
1 strike on Robin Ventura. Tapani has struck out 3 now. Ventura is 1 for 2 this afternoon at Wrigley Field, batting .290. The Cubs have a 4-2 lead with the White Sox batting in the 6th. Ventura hits it hard to the gap in right center field. And that's going to roll all the way to the ivy. And this one doesn't stick in the ivy as Ventura tries for 3. The relay from Alexander. Save at third, a triple for Ventura. Robin Ventura is just over a year removed from a badly broken leg. And when he rounded second base, I thought, oh, I don't know about this. But Ventura had his sights set on third, and here's the play.
What's allowed Robin to go to third is that ball stuck right at the bottom of the wall there, and then it's a good relay throw, but good hustle by Robin. Here he comes rolling to third with a dive. If that ball had bounced off that wall and come back, Robin would not have been able to go to third base.
Ventura said he was happy to see Tapani. Well, Robin has a single and a triple today, and Robin is a .411 career hitter against his friend. Well, Cordero the batter representing the tying run. The sun has popped out. And Cordero hits the ball to center field. Lowry is there, and with Ventura going to third base, he is able to score on the fly ball. A sacrifice fly for Cordero. Now we have a 1-run game.
Well, that's a hustle run. Robin Ventura is not the typical guy that you would see, even though he has 4 triples, is not the kind of guy you normally see blow into third base with a triple. But he hustled that. Being down at the time 2 runs, he could have taken it easy, and he didn't.
And Cordero got the fly ball to bring him in. Now with 2 outs and the base is empty, Maglio Ordonez comes up. Tapani has allowed solo runs in the 3rd, the 5th, and now the 6th. The White Sox have some activity in their bullpen. With the curve in the dirt, ball 1 on Ordonez. Carlos Castillo, a right-hander, has begun throwing down the right field line. That's out of play. A foul ball for Ordonez. 1 ball and 1 strike. And there's Castillo. Carlos Castillo picked up a win in Kansas City a few days ago. Scott Ayers done a nice job today. And that's a smash through the middle of the infield. Well, I mentioned earlier that when you were managing the White Sox, Jeff, and the White Sox got to Tapani when he was pitching for the Twins, it usually happened the 4th, 5th, 6th inning.
It was almost like the kind of hitting team that we had, that the more you saw a pitcher like Tapani, who was really a control pitcher, the better you got. He did not fool you as much. Ironically, I think you mentioned that when he was pitching for the White Sox, if the opposition didn't get him early in the game, they didn't get him at all.
He got much stronger, and he's been getting the Cubs to the 6th and 7th inning this season. Magglio Ordonez is safe at first base. Ordonez has 3 steals while being thrown out 1 time. He's not a real base stealing threat. Charlie O'Brien has been a pretty good contact hitter for the White Sox. 0 for 2 today on ground ball outs. A fastball into O'Brien. Tapani has been able to get O'Brien to hit the changeup on the ground.
You got to be careful if you're facing Charlie O'Brien. He's very strong. He's not had great offensive numbers, but he's so smart at what he does behind the plate that he'll hit a triple pitch. He anticipates pitcher stuff, but he's got big time power.
And there's a drive into left center field. This has a chance to go. It's a goner for O'Brien, a 2-run homer, giving the White Sox a 1-run lead. As you were saying.
Well, Charlie O'Brien is a guy that's been around the game a long time, a very underrated player. Those guys that are around him, he played for me when I managed the Mets. I really appreciated what he did. But I've seen him do that. He'll hit mistake pitches. Let's see where the pitch was. The pitch is not a bad pitch relative to in or out, but it was a little too high for Tapani's taste.
Scott Air comes up there swinging and fouls it off. 2 more runs after 2 outs. And with Charlie O'Brien's home run, a big reaction from the dugout and manager Jerry Manuel. 3rd home run for O'Brien. Air pops it up. It's out of play. Air has struck out twice against Kevin Tapani. But how good is Scott Air feel as he bats against Tapani in the 6th inning, and his team has supplied a lead. When O'Brien hit the ball, Jerry Manuel looking through the fence. There we go. So his White Sox have taken a lead of 5-4. Air goes too far. He's out on strikes for the 3rd time today. But Robin Ventura hustled into third base and scored on a sacrifice fly, and Charlie O'Brien hit a 2-run homer. The White Sox lead by 1 going to the bottom of the 6th.
There have been only 7 Wheaties champions this century. Better make that 8. Introducing Tiger Woods, a new generation of Wheaties champion.
If you can do this, you can make wood beautiful with Minwax. And if you can do this, you can give wood lasting protection. Turning a house into a beautiful home is as easy as turning to Minwax.
Some guys have all the luck. Some guys get all the risks. Some guys.
Play Pepsi Pop Culture. Just drink Pepsi or Mountain Dew. Match winning phrases and win tons of cool prizes. From cash to trips, even a new Jeep Wrangler. Pepsi Pop Culture. Drink, match, win.
Hey, all these amazing prizes are just waiting to be won in Pepsi Pop Culture. So come on, play.
It's late, it's wet, and a flat tire puts you up against the wall. Wouldn't it be great if you could just drive to safety? Now you can with new Goodyear Aqua Steel Run Flat. Even with no air pressure, you can drive up to 50 miles at 55 miles per hour to safety. Aqua Steel Run Flat. Only from Goodyear.
Goodyear, Goodyear. This show is cool. There are no rules on In the Zone. They act the fool, so come and learn to hit and throw from players with great skills. You know, you'll get it right. You'll reach new heights. They'll probably put your name in lights. Can't miss one show. You never know what baseball skills they will bestow. In the Zone. It's a rad show here on Fox. Hang up the phone and get fired up. This fully rocks. Big time baseball. That's what the Zone is all about. Watch that pickle. So check it out and don't be late. It ain't no joke. The show is great.
In the Zone, Saturdays on Fox.
This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Commissioner of Baseball and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. The accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without express written consent. With Jeff Torborg, I'm John Rooney at Wrigley Field, and Kerry Wood is not going to pitch in this 3-game series. But he tied the major league record for the most strikeouts in a 9-inning game with 20 against Houston on the 6th of May. Then he set a major league record for strikeouts in consecutive games at 33 against Houston and Arizona, with 20 against the Astros, 13 against the Diamondbacks. The old record was held by Tiant, Ryan, Gooden, and Randy Johnson. 1 ball and 1 strike the count on Henry Rodriguez. Jeff, what do you think of Kerry Wood?
I think if he doesn't hurt himself, he's going to be one of the greats in this game. The thing that always worries you is about a very young power pitcher. If used too much when he's young, affects him later.
Rodriguez hits this one high in the air, back of second base. Ray Durham calls and makes the catch. Henry Rodriguez pops out, 1 out. And Kerry Wood at Wrigley Field, you talk about a dominator here, and Tapani was so good last year at Wrigley Field. Check this out.
That's unbelievable. I saw that game. I was watching the game when he struck the 20 out. I didn't come into the game until about the 5th inning when I heard how many strikeouts he had. So I kept watching. I said, I cannot believe that this kid is this young, this big, and able to get all 4 pitches over. He has exceptional stuff.
And since Kerry Wood's strikeout performances that I talked about against Houston and the Diamondbacks, the Cubs are 18-9.
Well, I'll tell you, that turns you on when all of a sudden you bring a kid up and he becomes the anchor of your starting rotation.
Jose Hernandez, a 2-0 count. He homered the last time up.
You know, when you think about big Texas kids that come in like Nolan Ryan, Roger Clemens
in stereo.
Yeah. Greg Swindell, remember, out of Texas, University of Texas. I mean, these guys came in and made impact.
No ball. 3 balls and no strikes on Hernandez. The White Sox have 2 pitchers throwing. Tom Fordham is a left-hander, number 32, Tom Fordham. The right-hander, Carlos Castillo. You saw him warming up earlier. A strike in there to Jose Hernandez. Hernandez really teed off in the 4th inning for his 6th home run of the year to left center field, hitting the ball over the bleachers. He struck out in the 2nd inning. He takes a walk here facing Scott Air. And the base on balls is the 2nd for Air. Tuesday, it's game 1 of the Stanley Cup Finals as Peter Bondra and the Eastern champion Washington Capitals take on Sergei Fedorov and the Western champion Detroit Red Wings. The race for the Stanley Cup begins Tuesday, 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific, right here on Fox. The Capitals are going for their first Stanley Cup. You can follow the action right here as Washington plays the defending Stanley Cup champion Detroit Red Wings. Scott Service with a strike after the walk to Jose Hernandez. 2 walks today for Air, 6 strikeouts. Air's career high in strikeouts is 7. His brief time in the major leagues. Scott Air is trying to get his first road win at the major league level. He's 5-9 overall. He only has 1 win this season. And the Service reaches and fouls it off. Only 1 win this season for Air, but his defense has let him down. Peixoto is warming up in the bullpen for the Cubs.
Well, I think Air has done a terrific job today. You know, he had to extend a couple innings because of the errors, and yet he's kept his pitch count down. And even though he got behind, and those are some heartbreaking runs that scored that 1 inning for him, he stayed with it.
A ball, 1 ball and 2 strikes. Derek White is on deck. Feel bad for Kevin Tapani. There's White in the on-deck circle, or near the on-deck circle for the Cubs. Does anybody ever stand in the on-deck circle anymore?
I don't think so. You know, especially if you got spikes, you stand in those rubber on-deck circles. You can twist a knee when you swing, so they stand off it.
Right back to Air. He'll go to first base. The out, 1-3, retiring Scott Service. Jose Hernandez is in scoring position at second base. The tying run is at second with 2 outs, and the pinch hitter Derek White coming up.
Well, that was a heck of a play. That ball was heading back through the middle there, and he made a beautiful play on this, and even jumped up and had the presence of mind to even look at second base. This is a nice play. Now, he made the right decision. He took the 1, but if he doesn't catch that, that might make it through. Now, Nardi Contreras, the pitching coach, is out talking with Charlie O'Brien and Air. They're talking about the situation because it's a pinch hitter. They're making sure they know what the book is on White as he comes to the plate, and also what the situation is. Open base, 2 outs.
With 2 outs and the tying run at second base, White is going to come up, and Nardi Contreras goes through the full report. Well, clouds in the area, and the forecast for today, showers off and on. We had some rain just before the game. As you can see, the lights are on at Wrigley Field. Doesn't that sound funny to say the lights are on at Wrigley Field?
You're
even
not
though
kidding.
they've had them here for a few years now. And here is Derek White. White is batting for Tapani, trying to tie the game. And a long one. It's going to give the Cubs the lead. A pinch home run for Derek White. The Cubs are back in front in the 6th inning. How about that turnaround?
Wow, you can see the emotions on the different sides of the field.
His last home run, Jeff, was the 5th of August, 1993 against New York's Eric Hillman.
Well, I tell you, there was no doubt about that one. That was crushed. He jumped the first pitch he saw. And you can imagine Jim Riggleman feeling so good about his move on that side of the field. Jerry Manuel, you can see how he fell on his side of the field, lost the momentum quickly.
Well, in 45 games at Iowa, White hit .367 with 12 homers and 50 RBIs. And as I mentioned, that was the last home run. It was off Eric Hillman of the New York Mets in '93 for Derek White. And he goes yard here at Wrigley Field off left-hander Scott Air. The second home run Air has given up today, the 17th he has allowed this season.
John, you said he went yard. That's baseball nomenclature. Actually, he went neighborhood. That went way down in the neighborhood out there.
It scored Jose Hernandez, so the walk turns into a run in the 6th. The pitch inside to Manny Alexander was called out on strikes in the 4th inning. That's White's 3rd career home run. A strike called in. When a team is going well, different players come up each day. It's somebody new. Yesterday it was Brant Brown. And Derek White comes off the bench with 1 swing, gives the Cubs the lead. A 3-1 count now on Alexander.
That is so true that when you have a club winning, they seem to be able to pick one another up. You'll have an injury to a key person and somebody else will be picked up.
A drive into left field with Albert Bell moving back. And on the track he makes the catch. A pinch home run by Derek White. The Cubs are back in front after 6. And we'll return to Chicago's Wrigley Field following this word from your local Fox station.
For in-your-face coverage, log on to foxsports.com.
Summertime, and the living is, well, exciting at Dubuque Greyhound Park and Casino. But winning $100 is easy with drawings held Monday through Friday at 1, 5, and 9 p.m. Every entry each week is eligible to win a patio of prizes, Weber grills, picnic baskets with goodies, gliders, coolers, and more. Winning is a picnic now through June 26th at
Dubuque Greyhound Park and Casino. Come out and play.
Monday, Mrs. Smith did her shopping, which included Krieg Boys ice tubes in the resealable package. Tuesday, teenager Erica fills her cooler with ice tubes, the round ice with a hole. Wednesday, husband Bob quenches his thirst with a tall glass of lemonade. Thursday, rambunctious Ricky needs an ice pack after his nasty fall. Friday, Robbie decides the resealable package is the perfect way to carry his crayons. Krieg Boys packaged ice in the handy resealable package.
Stay cool this summer with the boys.
When it comes to home improvement, come to Menards. Cell-even aluminum soffit and fascia systems look great and never need painting. On sale now for just $1.60 a lineal foot. Build a beautiful patio driveway or walk with Holland pavers. They're easy to install, and Menards has a great selection of colors to choose from. Just 36 cents each. Get great landscaping ideas and save at Menards.
Save big money at Menards.
Meet the Strikeout King. Meet the other Strikeout King.
It's General Mills Seat Cushion Night, Saturday, June 6th, when the Colonels welcome the Lugnuts to Vet Stadium. The first 1,000 fans will receive a seat cushion compliments of General Mills. Discounted admission coupons are available at area supermarkets. Game time is at 7 and the gates open at 6. Now here's a look at the Colonels homestand schedule.
The home of the 1998 World Series. We're Fox 28 and 40.
Terry Mulholland is the new pitcher for the Cubs, and they have new life at 6-5 with the White Sox batting down by a run in the top of the 7th inning. Mulholland was a winning pitcher yesterday. Ray Durham rakes it to the shortstop. And Jeff Blauser just gets the speedy Ray Durham at first base. One down in the 7th inning. The numbers on Terry Mulholland.
Remember, Mulholland originally had been a starter most of his career, even pitched a no-hitter for the Phillies, but has gone to the bullpen, come back to this club, was with this club as a starter last year, went to the Giants, has come back, and is doing a nice job out of the bullpen for them. Gives them that left-hander and that experience.
The opponents have hit .275 against Mulholland this season. Mike Caruso, lefty against lefty now. Caruso pops it up. Backing up to the outfield, Manny Alexander. And he can't find it. It drops alongside Alexander. Caruso hustles into second. By running, Caruso made it into second base. The sun came through the thick cloud cover we had here a moment ago, and Alexander did not have sunglasses out there.
Well, he's got the sunglasses, John.
But they don't do him any good on that cap. See, that's why I asked you. I asked you that earlier. It might be a fine look, but no practical use for the sunglasses. Yeah, where's the ball?
Well, I don't know about a fine look, but that might be a fine. I mean, that's awful. That's why you got those glasses.
And I said it might be a fine look. I didn't say it was.
Okay. I mean, that enrages a manager.
We have a pitching change, so we're going to take the break, and we'll be right back to Wrigley Field. Stay with us.
They say fruit's good for your body. Everybody loves fruit. Natural fruit. Wild fruit. Peeling fruit. Warm bodies. Hard bodies. Everybody. Everybody. Fruit of the Loom. It's underwear. Get it? Everybody. Everybody. Everybody loves fruit.
The world thinks American soccer is second rate. The world thinks we don't belong here. The world thinks our team is weak. The world thinks it can intimidate me. We'll see about that.
What? What?
Between two white lines on a field of green, where men play a boys' game. 750 of them are good enough to be called major leaguers. And once a year, 60 of them are good enough to be called all-stars. July 7th, 1998, Coors Field, Denver, Colorado. Elevation 5,280 feet. It's baseball on a higher level. The All-Star Game. Don't miss a minute.
How far will Mulder go to save Scully?
I'm offering you a chance to know the truth. In exchange for what?
Come work for me. The X-Files, Sunday at 9, 8 Central on Fox.
Frank Thomas is the batter facing Terry Adams. Adams came in with runners at second and third yesterday in the 8th inning. Walked Chad Kruder, but got Greg Norton, a pinch hitter, on a strikeout, leaving runners at second and third base in the marathon game won by the Cubs in 12 innings. Frank Thomas is ahead of Adams now. 2 balls and no strikes. 4-3 for Adams. An ERA under 3 at 2.52. Game number 30 for Adams out of the bullpen for the Cubs. Mulholland worked a third of an inning, gave up a hit. He's responsible for Mike Caruso at second. Frank Thomas takes ball 3. So back and forth we go. The fans started to liven up some in between innings after the home run by Derek White. A 2-run blast gave the Cubs the lead. Charlie O'Brien hit a 2-run homer in a 3-run 6th inning that put the White Sox in front for the first time today. But that was short-lived. A strike on Thomas. He was ready to take his base.
You know, that can take a little bit of starch out of you as you look at Frank Thomas when he comes to the plate. Now, of course, he's struggling this year, but the numbers of those other years are just breathtaking.
What do you think the big difference is, Jeff?
I'm not sure, John. It doesn't look like he's staying on the ball. He's kind of jumping back from a lot of pitches, and it looks like it's gotten to him a little bit mentally about the way they're calling. I don't know. You know, sometimes you're due a bad first half. I venture to say before the season's over, he'll be back over 300. And as you can see, the Cubs were even trying to stay inside even on a 3-1 count. The book has always been to pitch Frank hard in. But I tell you what, Jim Riggleman, he's got to be burning inside about that pop-up where his second baseman had his sunglasses on his hat. Manny Alexander on his hat, not over his eyes. The sun's out and he does not see a pop-up. It falls in. Now he's a little late now that he's got the glasses on.
Albert Bell's the batter. In the dirt. Nice stop by Service, keeping the ball in front of home plate. 1-0 on Bell, who has done nothing today. A line out, a fly out, and a strikeout. Albert Bell bats with Thomas at first and Caruso at second.
Excuse me, John, that was a great play by Service because he doesn't get that ball. It goes through him. He got 2 runners in scoring position.
And a fly ball can bring in an easy run.
Yes.
Frank Thomas is the runner at first base. Mike Caruso with very good speed at second. A foul ball by Albert Bell.
John, look where these glasses are on the top of his head right here, right up in here. I mean, you called it. You said earlier.
I asked you when we saw Robin Ventura wearing the glasses on the cap. At that time, though, there was no sunshine on Wrigley Field. Well, and the clouds have come in, blocking the sun again.
Now, it's no problem with those glasses if you wear them all the time.
Now, Blauser has the flip-down
the old-fashioned kind, right? Now, those push down on your nose. They're a little uncomfortable.
With the runner going, Caruso is safe at third base. Thomas is at first. Now, a fly ball deep enough can bring a run in for the White Sox. The steal for Caruso is his 6th. And in this situation, Jeff, he'd better make it if he's running for third base.
You're not kidding. And the shame for the White Sox is that Frank didn't realize he was going Frank Thomas at first base because you still have a double play in order here.
And Albert Bell led the American League in double plays last year.
He hits the ball so hard. If he hits it on the ground, they might be able to turn a double play. But I think as a steal, as you can see, and here's the throw by Service, you can see the good jump. Throw is not real good, but it wouldn't have mattered anyway. But young Caruso got a terrific jump at second base.
Bell with a big swing. Bell has grounded into 8 double plays this season. Only Magler Ordonez has grounded into more. Ordonez has 9.
Well, there are 2 reasons that Albert grounds into a lot of double plays. First of all, it's not because he's so slow. It's because he hits the ball so hard. And they'll continue to try to pitch him sliders and breaking balls down and away, and he'll roll over them, meaning he'll hook over them and hit them on the ground to the shortstop.
Adams, the pitcher, with a walk. He walked Frank Thomas. Yesterday, Adams walked 1 and struck out 3. He strikes out Albert Bell right there. The second strikeout for Bell today. Now Adams is pitching with 2 down and Robin Ventura coming up. Boy, Jim Riggleman's going to the mound.
Excuse me, John, this was nearly a perfect pitch. Albert Bell was looking for another breaking ball outside, and Scott Service changed it up on him and went inside, and Terry Adams just painted that inside half of the plate. Now, to me, the guy watching the White Sox hit, the hottest hitter they have, it seems to be right now on every pitch, is the guys in the batter's box right now, Robin Ventura. He hits out of an open stance, and he just has been on everything, closing up. He's not been fooled. And you can see the meeting on the mound. They're also talking about what to do if they try anything tricky about maybe running Frank Thomas from first base. Frank has 3 stolen bases. I doubt whether they would do anything tricky with a Ventura at the plate. As I say, I really believe right now he's the most locked-in hitter they have.
I do too. Or something tricky like having Frank fall down between first and second base, or getting a run down where Caruso can race home.
Yeah, something like that, or trying to steal second base, seeing if maybe they'll throw the ball away. But I don't think they would try that here.
No, I don't either. Not with Ventura up. Ventura hits a ground ball up the middle. That's backhanded by Alexander, retiring Frank Thomas coming down. So Adams was able to keep the runners on base, and the Cubs still have a 1-run lead at Wrigley Field.
Let me tell you something about heroes. They ain't like you and me. Look at Griffey, the way he taps the spikes and grows the tee, punches the glove and flips the lid, ties the hat, eats the dirt, and twirls the lumber, warms it up and works the crowd. The way he holds the pose, slams the wall, anticipates, and always thanks his mother. Let me tell you about guys like him. They ain't just playing stick.
This is Major League Baseball featuring Ken Griffey Jr. with Reality Bat for Infinite Swings. It's only on N64, only on Nintendo Sports.
Select road. Validating tires. BF Goodrich. Approved.
What kind of road can you drive on with BF Goodrich tires?
Enjoy.
Any road you choose. BF Goodrich tires. Take control.
We both love nuggets.
And I'll always love that about you.
Because they're tender and juicy.
Thing is, you're sweet and sour, and I'm honey mustard.
But we're breaking up?
Sorry.
Don't look at me. I'm barbecue.
And speaking of Wendy's all-white meat crispy chicken nuggets, if you had 99 cents, what would you buy? A gallon of gas? A new air freshener? How about Wendy's chicken nuggets? Bite for bite, the best bet in chicken.
That's the one I'd pick.
People smile and tell me I'm the lucky one. And we've just begun. Think I'm gonna have a son. And in the morning when I rise, you bring a tear of joy to my eyes and tell me everything's gonna be alright.
Aflac, insuring over 40 million people worldwide.
From Wrigley Field, Chicago, and the fans have said, thanks, Harry Carey. Thanks for the great memories here with Take Me Out to the Ball Game.
2, take
Billy Williams.
me out to the ball game. Take me out to the crowd. Buy me some peanuts and Cracker Jacks. I don't care if I ever get back. Let me root for the Cubbies. If they don't win, it's a shame. For it's 1, 2, 3 strikes you out at the old ball game.
Well, we give Billy an A for the effort.
Boy, it's a good thing he was a good hitter.
Isn't it, though?
He can't sing a lick. Oh, boy, what a good hitter. His nickname was Whistler. Not because he was a whistler, but because from Whistler, Alabama. What a good hitter. He had a little thing he used to do when he came to hit, and I would be a catcher there. As we're looking at Billy in the dugout there, he would spit when he went to take a practice swing, and he'd hit it with his bat each time. I was so uncoordinated, I couldn't throw a ball up to hit it.
So did you ever try that?
No. No, I don't want the bat to be
It sounded
wet.
like you had tried it, and you couldn't do it. Terrell Lowry is facing Carlos Castillo, and a fly ball right field. Will Cordero, he's dancing with that one and makes the catch, and Carlos Castillo retires his first man. Carlos Castillo got his second win earlier this week in relief against the Kansas City Royals. He's 2-4 with a high 5.40 ERA. Game number 26 for him. Fastball, curveball, a slider, a changeup for the young pitcher out of the White Sox bullpen.
Hey, John, what happened when he got into it with Chad Kruder in a game? They didn't agree on a pitch, and it ended up costing them a ball game?
The foul ball back. The home run against the Detroit Tigers. A home run by their second baseman, Damian Easley. There you talk about the pitcher-catcher relationship.
Well, I heard so many things coming in and out of the White Sox clubhouse, about people being unhappy. Navarro saying the team stunk, and then I heard Frank Thomas talk about how he was not enamored by the youth movement. But then I heard that they had a problem between Castillo and Kruder about deciding on a certain pitch, and it cost them a ball game.
And a foul by Brown.
And that's what happens when a club starts losing. You know, they start pointing fingers a little bit, but it sounded to me like the air got cleared.
That is right, though, when a team is losing. And that was one of the problems, I think, last year before the trade with San Francisco, that having a veteran ball club that was losing, there was a lot of finger pointing, and that's no good in any clubhouse. Brad Brown is out on strikes for the 3rd time today. Next week on Fox Saturday Baseball Game of the Week, American League rivals clash as the Indians battle the best in baseball, the New York Yankees plus other regional action. Coverage begins at 1 Eastern and Pacific. Check your local listings for the game and time in your area, and join us next Saturday on Fox. Andy McPhail and Jerry Reinsdorf looking on. Sammy Sosa has a strikeout, a walk, and a pop out today. He has hit 17 home runs. He's batting .339. Scott Air gave up 6 runs, 4 earned on 6 hits over his 6th inning. And Castillo misses with the fastball. 1 ball and 1 strike. 2 walks today for Air.
Yeah, I was just thinking, John, seeing Jerry Reinsdorf, the White Sox owner, sitting in the booth there watching this game. And here is Sammy Sosa across town, used to be one of his guys starring over here. It's got that kind of, when you make a deal like that and it comes back and it kicks you in the teeth, that's got to hurt. Because Jerry was very supportive when we had our young team in 1990 on the south side of Chicago. We won 94 games of the youngest team in baseball. Unfortunately, Oakland had won 103, but we did it with a bunch of young kids who were really exciting, and Sammy was right in the middle of that.
Sosa hits a blast into center field, and it's going to go in the batter's eye, a home run. Into the shrubbery in center field for Sosa. The 18th home run of the year for Sosa. And he has 9 home runs in his last 8 games. Blauser hits it on the ground to Ventura. Spinning move from third. He throws out Blauser, but a 2-out home run by Sammy Sosa gives the Cubs some breathing room after 7 innings at Wrigley Field. And there's Sosa's home run swing.
Baby, it looks like it's gonna hail. Baby, it looks like it's gonna hail. You better come inside, let me teach you how to jive and wheel. Oh, you gotta jump and jive and then you really gotta jump and jive and then you really gotta jump and jive and then you will.
Great. That tune-up.
These AC Delco parts are about the most dependable you can buy. They should really help improve your performance.
Come on, they're all the same. I'll take some out of this bushel basket.
Okay.
AC Delco. No matter what you drive, if you're not asking for it, you're asking for it.
Play ball!
This century has seen only 7 Wheaties champions. Athletes who defined an era. Athletes who changed the game. Say hello to number 8. Introducing Tiger Woods, a new generation of Wheaties champion.
For 75 years, Warner Brothers has brought you the faces you'll never forget and the moments you'll always remember.
Well, happy anniversary.
To celebrate, we've created the 75th Anniversary Video Collection.
Yeah, happy 75th, Warner Brothers.
For every reason you love great movies.
Here's to 75 glorious years, Warner Brothers.
Now is the time to make them yours.
I've got mine.
Warner Brothers 75th Anniversary Video Collection.
Here's looking at 75 years, kid.
Join Terry Bradshaw, Howie Long, James Brown, and Chris Collinsworth for World Bowl 98. Coverage begins Sunday, June 14th at 1 p.m. Eastern on Fox.
From Wrigley Field on the north side of Chicago, the Cubs lead 7-5. Will Cordero was almost hit by that Terry Adams pitch. 2-0 the count on Cordero leading off the 8th inning, and the Cubs are up by 2. Sammy Sosa was greeted warmly by his fans, the right field bleachers, after he hit a home run to straightaway center field. His home run disappeared in the greenery just above the center field fence. Chop toward Blauser. Cordero is out at first base, 1 out. And here's Sammy Sosa coming with 2 outs in the 7th inning. And here's how Sammy was greeted by his fans in right field. That's that love affair we mentioned between the Cubs and their fans, especially with Sosa in right field. Maglio Ordonez. 1 strike on Maglio. He has 2 hits and 2 runs scored, 2 out of 3. The Cubs have homered in 22 of the last 24 games. It covers 32 home runs. Jose Hernandez, Sammy Sosa, and Derek White's 2-run pinch home run in the 6th inning put the Cubs back on top today. And Sammy Sosa is climbing the list of career home runs, and Billy Williams is just below Ernie Banks, or below him, 290 to 231. So that ball goes shooting back to the screen.
John, what gets me coming into this ballpark now, it's a happening here. When I was a young player with the Dodgers, and the Dodgers were the best drawing team in the National League coming in here, they never even opened the upper deck, so they wouldn't have to put cleaners up to clean it out. That's how poor the crowds were. You saw when you talked about Banks, Sano, and Williams, Kessinger, Beckert, that bunch, Fergie Jenkins in the mid-60s. That was the team that started to turn this side of town on here.
A ball in the dirt to Ordonez.
Leo DeRocher came over as the manager.
And there's the sign on the first base dugout. Welcome to the friendly confines of Wrigley Field.
The first time I ever heard that said, the friendly confines. That was Ernie Banks saying the friendly confines. Let's play 2. Never forget one time he said let's play 2, and they were down in Houston. They carried him out in the 2nd game. It was so hot.
And the flag above the left field wall on the foul pole here. Ernie Banks and Minnie Minoso saying take me out to the ball game yesterday at the 7th inning stretch, and that was a great touch. The fans really got into it, as they do every game here, but just the electricity yesterday. We haven't had the buzz to the crowd. We've had a few instances where the fans seem to react to the game situations, but yesterday the noise was at a fever pitch at a high level, and there's strike 3 on Ordonez. Terry Adams has done a nice job out of the bullpen, striking out Albert Bell in the 7th. He gets Ordonez here, and there are 2 outs in the 8th inning for Charlie O'Brien.
You know, one of the big moves that the Cubs made in the offseason was signing Rod Beck to be their closer, and that moved Terry Adams, last year's closer with 18 saves, into the setup role, and that has really helped the roles in this Cub bullpen. As you know, once all you do is change one guy's role, sometimes it'll hurt a club terribly. Like, look at Baltimore losing Randy Myers. Their bullpen is a mess.
Where Armando Benitez was a good setup man for Myers last year.
Yes.
Among others. And that's into right center field. A hit for O'Brien. Charlie is 2 for 4. He hit a 2-run homer in the 6th inning. There's Beck on your right, and Andy McPhail, along with Ed Lynch, make the moves for the Chicago Cubs. And Beck last year had Roberto Hernandez as the setup man for him in San Francisco after Hernandez was traded from the White Sox to the West Coast.
How about that's really interesting. Now Beck is not with the Giants. Hernandez is not with the Giants, but Robbie Nen is traded from the Marlins out there with the Giants and doing a great job. But that closer role is so important. A lot of people say, well, how big can it be? Guy going in 1 inning. Boy, is that a comfort factor for a manager. And a guy like Rob Nen or Rod Beck, those guys really are invaluable. You remember with the White Sox in 1990, Bobby Thigpen sent the all-time major league record with 57 saves.
Yeah, but you blew his arm out.
Yeah, right.
That's what I kept hearing.
Yeah. What a year.
And Bobby saved 57 without an overpowering fastball. And here's Greg Norton pinch hitting for Carlos Castillo. Switch batter, batting left-handed, and 1-0 the count on Norton. Norton is batting with O'Brien at first base. The White Sox have been scoring 2-out runs. And Norton has some home run power. He has 3 home runs, 12 RBIs, hitting .266. In an effort to have a little better defense on the infield, Norton was the opening day first baseman for the White Sox and played there for the most part until Will Cordero was able to come up from the minor leagues after having a late start on spring training. Norton out of the University of Oklahoma. He hits the ball the other way, and that goes foul out of play. The lights are starting to take effect here on this cloudy afternoon. We've got clouds, sunshine, clouds, and the clouds look like they're here to stay for a while. It feels like early evening here right now. And we're just past 2:30 Central Time. Greg Norton batting for Castillo. 3 balls and a strike on Norton with Ray Durham waiting to bat next for the White Sox. We're trailing the Cubs by 2 runs in the 8th inning. The Cubs are trying to go up 2-0 in this series. Last season at Comiskey Park, the Cubs won the first game. The White Sox took the next 2. Norton fouls it off, and O'Brien is getting a big lead over at first base with Brand Brown playing behind him. There's the Cubs bullpen.
Both the left-hander Patterson and right-hander Peixoto jumped up when the count went to 2-1. So Jim Riegelman saw something or felt something, and you go by your gut reaction. He had quickly got the bullpen up. Now Charlie O'Brien's been given, as you mentioned, a lot of room at first, but he's not allowed to run unless he asks for permission to go, and he's trying to talk them into letting him go, but he's 2 runs down. He can't take a chance of getting thrown out.
He's going on 3-2, and the looper down the left field line is foul in the bullpen. A foul ball.
Well, obviously, when I was talking about getting permission to run, it was before it was 3-2 and 2
But he was asking for permission on 3-2.
Yeah, even then, that's right. Before that, he was, but they weren't holding him on, and
he kept looking over the shoulder to Brian Little, the first base coach.
I know,
looking in the dugout.
Charlie
was off the bag about 12 feet.
Well, I think Brian was just saying, make sure he delivers the ball. Don't let him pull a trick move on you here. But obviously, we really know the game. You can run 3-2 out anybody.
Greg Norton broke his bat on the foul ball to the bullpen down the left field line. So he has new lumber coming to the plate. He represents the tying run for the Southsiders. The White Sox scored in the 3rd. The Cubs came back with 3 runs with the help of an error by Frank Thomas in the 3rd inning. Foul ball on the 3-2 pitch, and O'Brien will go back to first base. The Cubs scored in the 4th. The White Sox got a run in the 5th and 3 in their half of the 6th. The Cubs picked up 2 in the 6th inning. A 2-run pinch home run by Derek White, and Sammy Sosa hit a solo shot in the 7th. 7-5 in favor of the Cubs. 2 outs in the 8th inning. And Jerry Manuel is hoping his pinch batter can come through here and extend the inning, get to the top of the order.
John, both managers look so calm, but I guarantee they're not. Especially Jim Riegelman. When you have the lead, you feel like it's your game.
In left field down the line, Henry Rodriguez goes for this one. That's it for Norton and the White Sox in the 8th. The Cubs are coming up with a 2-run lead at Wrigley Field.
How does it look? I'm not going to lie to you. It doesn't look good. You got a broken crankshaft, a stuck valve, and a tremendous buildup of gunk.
I should have used a Fram oil filter. Nothing stops more dirt and engine-damaging particles better than America's #1 brand of filter. I guess I'm paying for it now.
Try and be strong. Fram oil filters. Pay a little more now or pay a lot later.
Scott's is a name you can trust. They've been around for years. Now they've got mowers.
You can get a mulching mower, you can get a rear bagger, you can get a side discharge.
You're going to have an easy pull start. All you got to do is push the button once, pull it.
Power propelled, you're going to stand behind one and the mower just goes. All you got to do is hold it and just walk for a while.
Then from there, you can go all the way up to the tractor.
The front end is a solid cast iron piece of material.
You have a great cup holder back here to drink soda while you're lawn mowing here.
They are a beautiful color, just like Home Depot orange.
I can't believe I can get this close with an electric shaver. This is smooth.
We're introducing men to the power of 3. The new Remington MicroScreen 3.
It's so fast.
It gives you 3 things no other shaver can. The most powerful motor of all leading brands, 150 precision cutting edges, and 3 flexing microscreens. Guaranteed to get you incredibly close, incredibly fast. The power of 3. Only with the new Remington MicroScreen 3. Built to shave incredibly close.
Fox Saturday Baseball Game of the Week, brought to you by Fram Filters. Pay a little more now or pay a lot later. By the Home Depot, America's home improvement coach. By Remington's MicroScreen 3 shaver, built to shave incredibly close. And by Warner Home Video, bringing you 75 years of great movies.
Welcome back to Wrigley Field. I'm John Rooney along with Jeff Torborg, and the Cubs have a 2-run lead as it's clouded up a bit here today, but it still has been an exciting weekend. The Cubs won yesterday and they lead today, and we want to say a happy anniversary to Jeff and Susie Torborg.
Well, thank you very much. She's been a very patient lady for 35 years.
35 years. How did she do it?
I know she's got a tremendous personality, and she met me over the phone, I think.
Good answer. Good. Congratulations, Susie. It was a little too cool for Susie to come out to the park today, but that's great. Happy anniversary.
That's very nice. Thank you.
Henry Rodriguez is the leadoff batter, bottom of the 8th inning. Sosa's home run gave the Cubs a 2-run lead, and here comes the rain. Keith Falk on the mound for the White Sox. Like Mike Caruso, the shortstop, Falk came from the San Francisco Giants in the deal near mid-season last year. Henry Rodriguez is batting .230. Rodriguez has struck out 53 times this season, but he is not fanned in these 2 games. Not until now. 1 out.
You know, John, you were just talking about Falk. You were talking about that trade last year. There's another deal that Jerry Reinsdorf took a lot of heat about, trading the 3 pitchers, Alvarez and Danny Darwin and Roberto Hernandez. Something thrown out of the stands that almost hit Keith Falk on the mound, but as it turned out, they've got a young shortstop out of it, a pitcher that helped them the end of latter part of last year, and it was a financial decision. And ironically, the club was 3.5 out when the deal was made, and they only finished what, 6 out.
But the statement that came out, and I know Jerry Reinsdorf regretted it coming out, but he said, if you think we can catch the Cleveland Indians at this point, you're crazy. The strike on the inside part of the plate to Jose Hernandez.
You know what I did remember, though, was that they didn't use the whole quote. I think he said the way we are playing.
I think that was part of it. And in working with the White Sox the way I was last year, I had to agree with him at that point. The way things were going for that club through 101 games, to be a game under 500 with that kind of offense that they were anticipating, just didn't develop. And with it raining harder now at Wrigley Field, a foul ball out of play by Jose Hernandez. The skies, as we look just to the left of the ballpark here, they're a little bit lighter, but we've had these dark, thick clouds overhead for the last inning. And there's a strike. Rodriguez struck out. Jose Hernandez is out on strikes. So with 2 away, Scott Service will be the batter. And Tuesday, it's game 1 of the Stanley Cup Finals. Peter Bondra and the Eastern champion Washington Capitals are going for their first cup. They'll take on Sergei Fedorov and the Western champion Detroit Red Wings as the Red Wings look to repeat. The race for the Stanley Cup begins Tuesday, 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific, right here on Fox. 2 up and 2 down on strikeouts. Keith Falk has had some rough outings the last couple of weeks, but he started the season throwing nothing but strikes and has done that today, working ahead of Scott Service 0-2 and striking out Rodriguez and Hernandez.
You know, John, I was just hearing you talk about hockey, and you look at managers and coaches. How about Scotty Bowman? He's going for his 9th Stanley Cup win. Can you imagine that?
See you swinging the bat in the on-deck circle.
Mark Gray standing in the foot, feeling better now.
With his team up by 2. 1 ball and 2 strikes on service. Terry Adams has come out of the bullpen to work an inning in 2/3 with 2 strikeouts. And Grace is on deck to bat for him. But there are 2 down. And a ground ball on the left side. Ventura throws out service. We're going to the 9th inning at Wrigley Field with the Cubs leading the White Sox by 2 runs. We'll be back.
Do you like legs? Well, here's an attractive set. All you can eat snow crab legs at Red Lobster for only $13.99.
That's what I want. Legs.
Bottomless buckets of meaty, succulent snow crab legs. All you can eat at a price you can't resist. So shake a leg and hurry in for all you can eat snow crab legs at Red Lobster, because life on land is dry.
Let me tell you something about heroes. They ain't like you and me. Look at Griffey. The way he taps the spikes and grows the tee, punches the glove and flips the lid, signs the hat, eats the dirt, and twirls the lumber, warms it up and works the crowd. The way he holds the pose, slams the wall, anticipates, and always thanks his mother. Let me tell you about guys like him. They ain't just playing stick.
This is Major League Baseball featuring Ken Griffey Jr. with Reality Bat for Infinite Swings. It's only on N64, only on Nintendo Sports.
Select road. Validating tires. VF Goodrich. Approved.
What kind of road can you drive on with VF Goodrich tires?
Enjoy.
Any road you choose. VF Goodrich tires. Take control.
I talk to my mom every Sunday. Nothing big, just to stay close. Tell her what the kids are up to. And that's why I signed up for MCI 5-cent Sundays. It's just 5 cents a minute, so we can talk for half an hour for just $1.50. That same call was $4.50 with AT&T's One Rate. We save more with MCI. And best of all,
hi, Grandma.
We all get to talk more.
Call 1-800-Sundays to become an MCI customer.
You're looking at the new left fielder for the Cubs as we go to the 9th inning. Matt Mieske comes in as part of a double switch. He's going to be batting in the number 9 spot that was occupied by the pitcher Terry Adams. And the new pitcher is Rod Beck, on to try to close this one out, earn a save. Ray Durham tries to bunt. So the Cubs and White Sox are playing in a pretty good shower here now on the north side of Chicago.
Well, the umpires will let this go until the field gets to the point where it's unplayable or they can't see. What happens when it starts raining too hard, that rain will start coming off the hitter's helmet. They can't see, and they just called it right here. They're going to cover it.
So we have a rain delay at Wrigley Field. Leadoff batter Ray Durham in the batter's box with a 1-strike count. Rod Beck has saved 15 games, a 1-1 record, and if he's to save today's game, he's going to wait a while. With the rain delay, we're going to take a break here from Wrigley Field with the Cubs leading 7-5 in the top of the 9th.
You disappear.
For a few hours, you become a yelling, screaming, thrill-seeking, horse-loving, king-crazy pirate man. Go, baby, go!
Fire like this.
Get ready to get creative. Get into a Rebel G. Go beyond snapshots. Experience the ultimate rush.
Cool.
Rebel G and only EOS lenses from Canon.
There are many types of athlete's foot that eat your feet alive. Don't just cure some, kill them all. Lotramin AF. Full prescription strength medicine, the brand doctors recommend most. Lotramin AF, the killer cure.
I can't believe I can get this close with an electric shaver. This is smooth.
We're introducing men to the power of 3. The new Remington Microscreen 3.
So fast.
It gives you 3 things no other shaver can. The most powerful motor of all leading brands. 150 precision cutting edges and 3 flexing microscreens. Guaranteed to get you incredibly close, incredibly fast. The power of 3. Only with the new Remington Microscreen 3. Built to shave incredibly close.
26 teams have become 2. Tuesday, the war for the most prestigious trophy in sports erupts as the Capitals battle the defending champion Red Wings in Game 1 of the Stanley Cup Finals on Fox. Tuesday at 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific.
Well, the rain has let up just a little bit. They have the tarp covering the infield now. So the White Sox and the Cubs are in a delay in the top of the 9th inning, with the Cubs leading by 2 runs. So we're going to give you some bonus coverage of one of our other Fox Saturday afternoon baseball games. So let's go to the Atlanta-Baltimore contest and join Josh Lewin and Frank Robinson.
We welcome those of you who have been watching the White Sox and the Cubs going at it in soggy Chicago. Josh Lewin along with Frank Robinson. We're at Camden Yards, where it's gorgeous. Sunshine, 70 degrees. And Kevin Millwood has been dealing this afternoon. Chris Hoyles at the plate. And the Braves in front here, 8-3. Mike Messina was really the storyline that we were most closely tracking at the beginning here. He's coming back after that very gruesome injury, that line drive off the bat of Sandy Alomar. And Messina lasted 4 2/3. He allowed 8 earned runs, though he struck out 10.
I'm sure Mike would have said after the ball game, hey, I would wish I'd have pitched better, but I'm sure he can be satisfied with getting out there and getting some innings in. And his stuff was good because of the 10 strikeouts, and he'll be back out there, and he'll be better the next time out.
Meantime, Mr. Millwood, who certainly struggled through the first inning, he has found his control and his composure, and he's trying to dispose of Chris Hoyles now. But Hoyles rams it into right field. They call it Orioles magic, that late inning comeback ability, and they showed a lot of it. The last couple of seasons, it was really at a high point. In the late 1970s, they will need a heavy dose of that magic this afternoon. 8-3 Atlanta.
Well, they're capable of coming back, Josh, because they're very solid throughout their lineup with guys who can hit the ball out of the ballpark, and they can strike very quickly. But with Millwood out there in that bullpen, it would be very difficult today.
Number 9 man in the order for Baltimore, Mike Bordick. A near record crowd here at Camden Yards this afternoon, better than 48,000. In town for intra-league play, the Braves and the O's. And the slider missing. 2-1 to Bordick. Those of you who were watching the Cubs and the White Sox, hopefully the rain will get out of Wrigley Field. Presently, we'll get you back there. Shallow right with this one from Bordick. That's Gerald Williams in right field. He locks it up for the first out. Next week on the Fox Saturday Baseball Game of the Week, American League rivals getting together. The Indians battle the New York Yankees. Plus, there's other regional action. Coverage beginning at 1 Eastern and Pacific. Check your local listings for the game and time in your area. Braves have been swept by Baltimore last year. Lost to them last night in a game that featured 5 solo home runs for all the scoring. And speaking of home runs, here's Brady Anderson, 50 of them a couple of years ago to break Frank Robinson's Oriole record of 49.
It was amazing. No one could have predicted that, not even Brady. But it did happen, and that's the beauty of this game. From one season to the next, is something exciting happens.
We talked about Brady Anderson hitting that 50th home run on the very last day of that season, and he had to negotiate with a kid to get that ball back. He really wanted it.
Well, it's very difficult now to get memorabilia souvenirs back. at ballparks because of the high profile and the high understanding of what memorabilia is today. And you have to pay a price.
Well, this guy who was about 15, 16 years old, he came down and he just started adding on like you would rooms to a house. I want a bat. Oh, I want a ball. I want a hamburger. No, I want a cheeseburger. And finally, Brady Anderson from right out of the Caddyshack movie said, you'll get nothing and like it. And the kid did get away with a signed baseball for his trouble. Brady got that 50th home run ball.
That was it?
That was it. Well, after Brady yelled at him, made him feel bad for asking for all that.
Well, no wonder he negotiates his own contract. He's tough.
By the way, it has stopped raining in Chicago, we've been told, and as soon as they get the tarpaulin off the field at Wrigley, we will get you back there in a 7-5 game in the 9th inning. Anderson hoisting one to left field. Long run in for Klesko. Still coming. Weiss back. Hey, what a play! Walt Weiss with the acrobatic belly flop, and he robs Brady Anderson.
That's just a tremendous play.
Right fielder, number 24.
Just an out. Kelso is coming. Klesko, I'm sorry, is coming, but Walt Weiss is the only one can make that play. And it's just all out. He had no fear. Brady thinks he's got a base hit right here. He says, wow.
And in an 8-3 game, that's the essence of Walt Weiss. He will dive around no matter what the score. And if you ask him why, he says it's really very easy. There's always a pitcher on the mound that's trying to protect his ERA. The least I can do is try to help him out.
Well, that's the professional way to approach that out there. You're going out there, and that's exactly what you're trying to do. Make your pitcher feel good about it by making plays behind him. And I'm sure Kevin Mill would be the first one to greet Walt Weiss in that dugout and say, hey, nice play.
What a super addition Walt Weiss has been. He and Galarraga both from Colorado.
Well, just pull that infield together, the two of them in the infield, and with Jones in center field, that just makes that an outstanding defensive ball club out there. Chipper Jones is...
Well, Jeff Torborg, I'm John Rooney at Wrigley Field. A brief rain delay in the top of the 9th inning with Ray Durham at the plate. Tried to bunt his way on, fouled off a pitch, and then the intensity of the rain made it to the point where the umpires had to call for the tarp. Ed Rapuano said that's enough. Bring out the tarp. Now the grounds crew is finishing tidying up down the left field line near the Cub bullpen as they leave the field. Jerry Manuel is discussing things with the home plate umpire Ed Rapuano. As you see Manuel and the home plate umpire next to the first base dugout discussing something. Our Red Lobster catch of the day took place in the 3rd inning with Charlie O'Brien at the plate. A ground ball to Jeff Blauser, taking that from the outfield grass, and with the jump, the throw, O'Brien was just out at first. Our Red Lobster catch of the day. And Jeff Blauser drove in a couple of runs in our game. Jeff Blauser, a 2-run single in the 3rd inning, 1 for 4 today. Now we're set to resume. Top of the 9th inning, top of the order for the White Sox, and they're trailing by 2 runs. Durham, Caruso, and Thomas. If anybody gets on, Albert Bell. 0-2 on Ray Durham. Durham tried to bunt his way on and fouled off the first pitch before the delay.
John, Rod Beck doesn't throw as hard as he once did, but he has got a nasty split finger, and he's got a good breaking ball, and he knows how to pitch. His miles per hour are probably down 6 or 8 miles an hour down to the high 80s.
And a shot into right center field. And that's a hit for Ray Durham. He's going for second base. He's going to make it. A double for Durham leading off the 9th inning. So there's hope for the White Sox fans with Mike Caruso and Thomas coming up yet. And Caruso has 3 hits today.
Well, this is a nice piece of hitting. That ball was going down. That was a pretty good pitch. Nice job cutting that ball off. That goes through. You get Durham at third base. Now the grass is going to be wet in the outfield, and the ball will scoot. In the alleys, it won't stick. It'll scoot. You know, it'll catch that backspin and just shoot through there.
Ray Durham is on second with his second double of the day, his 15th of the season. Ball 1 to Mike Caruso. Caruso has 2 doubles and 2 runs batted in. He's 3 out of 4. Beck is trying to keep the ball down. Boy, Beck was pumped up when he came in the game yesterday. A strike to Caruso, 1-1. Beck ended in the 10th inning, worked 2 innings. He struck out 3. The game lasted 12 and the Cubs won 6-5. Caruso fouls a high pitch back. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
You know, I like the way Beck goes at hitters. You know, he's got that closer mentality. Give me the ball. He looks like it. His hair's long, got that mustache, that Fu Manchu.
There's a Gossage look with the Fu
Manchu. He really
does.
does. And he comes at you. You know, you got to have a mentality who wants to close. It's not easy. It's like that cornerback on a touchdown gets burned. There's nobody between you and a loss out there, or a win for that matter. But his stuff isn't the same, but his attitude certainly is.
Outside, just off the corner to Mike Caruso. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Rod Beck is going for save number 16.
Now he tries to fool him with an off-speed pitch. It's either a changeup or a split finger away. Good call by the umpire off the plate.
Jim Riggleman looks on from the third base dugout. Caruso fights it off foul. 2 balls and 2 strikes. And Frank Thomas is waiting to bat next for the White Sox as you look at the 21-year-old shortstop. There's Frank Thomas. Thomas does not have a hit today. Neither does Albert Bell. Combined, they're 0 for 7 with a walk. A full count on Mike Caruso. There's nobody out in the 9th inning. After our game today, Jeff and I will be selecting the Chevy Truck Player of the Game. Derek White's two-run pinch home run gave the Cubs the lead. Sosa added to it with a homer. A strikeout. Caruso's out on strikes. 1 down.
John, he struck him out on a high changeup. That ball was high and in. That's not normally a pitch that or place that you want this pitch, but he was making sure he threw a strike with it. But boy, what a call that was to go with a changeup in that situation. 3-2. Runner already at second base. 2-run lead, and Frank Thomas coming up. Oh boy.
It worked.
Yep.
Caruso is out number 1, and here's Thomas to a chorus of boos at Wrigley Field. 1 strike on Thomas.
Frank took that fastball right down the middle. Frank, from the days that he first came up, was an outstanding off-speed hitter, and I bet he was looking for that split finger, and he still might be.
Thomas did not face Beck yesterday. A little bit low. A close call goes Thomas's way. 1 ball and 1 strike.
When Frank first came up, and usually you think about a big kid, you think about big kids always being hard, high fastball hitters. Frank was an outstanding off-speed hitter from day 1 that I ever saw him.
And Thomas fouls it off. From the 7th inning on, Frank Thomas has hit 143 since the 30th of April.
Boy, that's hard for me to believe. That shows, first of all, that's probably a lot of respect by the pitchers. They're not going to give him much to hit. But he has been struggling, but he is so dangerous every time he comes to the plate.
The Cub fans are standing at Wrigley Field. 1 and 2 on Thomas. And the line drive to left field. Down the line. That's a hit. Mieske picks it on a hop. Durham is going to score. And Mieske, by getting to the ball that quickly, holds Thomas to an RBI single. A 1-run lead for the Cubs with 1 out in the 9th, and Albert Bell coming up.
You can almost read Frank's lips. He said, I was looking for that split finger, and he got it. Watch this. It's a ball going down. See, and he went down and reached and hit it to left field. And a terrific play by Mieske. He kept the tying run off of second base, John. Good call. That was a nice play.
And here's Albert Bell. He has struck out the last 2 times up. Fly to right center field for an out in the 4th. A line out to left in the 2nd inning. The Cubs are looking for a double play ball. Calling for time. And a pinch runner, Mike Cameron, is going to replace Frank Thomas. Cameron with very good speed. He has 8 stolen bases in 12 attempts. Mike Cameron running for Frank Thomas. Team has to tie it before it can win it. So the power-hitting Frank Thomas is lifted for the speed of Mike Cameron as Jerry Manuel is trying to get that tying run in. Bell can bring the tying run in and the go-ahead run with one swing. One strike here on Albert Bell. Bell was up there first pitch swinging today against Kevin Tapani. Went 0 for 3 against him. Terry Adams struck out Bell on a called third strike in the 7th. One on and a run in for the White Sox. To the shortstop, Blauser to second for one. A double play, and the Cubs have won the first 2 games in this series. Congratulations on the field for the Cubs as they won in extra innings yesterday. A 1-run win, a 1-run victory today. And the Cubs have a lead in the regular season series 2 years running now, 3-2 over the White Sox. Our Chevy Truck player of the game is Derek White. He had a first pitch 2-run pinch hit home run in the 6th inning. Our congratulations to Derek White and to the Chicago Cubs. And here's the play that ended the game. Bell led the American League in double plays last year. Cameron tried to break up the double play. It didn't work. And Rod Beck gets the save. With a clenched fist in the air, Beck and the Cubs celebrate a 1-run victory. And I was talking about our Chevy player of the game, Derek White. After Charlie O'Brien hit a 2-run homer, Derek White goes yard to give the Cubs the lead back. O'Brien hit a 2-run homer in a 3-run 6th inning. And that shot by White disappointed Scott Aird. And White's last home run came August 5th, 1993. We'll be back with more from Wrigley Field after these messages following a Cub victory.
Thanks, Dad.
You can't do this with Caravan.
Thanks.
You can't do it with Windstar.
Thanks, Pop.
A little help? Only the Chevy Venture is available with a remote control sliding side door. It's the perfect accessory for the overworked father. Now you can get low 1.9% APR financing on Chevy Venture, a Consumer's Digest Best Buy 2 years in a row. Chevy Venture, let's go.
It has arrived. The day when you stop listening to the tales of other lives lived and begin the odyssey that will be your story. When you find the destiny to which you were born, all you need to bring with you is your honor, your courage, and your commitment. It's your journey. Make it a good one. Call 1-800-USA-NAVY. Let the journey begin.
If you can do this, you can make wood beautiful with Minwax. And if you can do this, you can give wood lasting protection. Turning a house into a beautiful home is as easy as turning to Minwax.
One day, science will create a pill for men's hair loss. That day is today. Introducing Propecia, the first pill for men with certain types of hair loss. In clinical studies, the vast majority of men, 83%, maintained their hair count, and most, 66%, regrew some hair. You may need to take it daily for 3 months or more to see results. Propecia is for men only. A small number of men experience certain sexual side effects. Each occurred in less than 2% of men. Women who are or may potentially be pregnant must not use it or handle broken tablets because of the risk of a specific kind of birth defect. Talk to your doctor or pharmacist and read the consumer information they can provide. It may look like just another pill, but for men who want to treat hair loss, it's a beautiful thing to behold. Propecia, helping make hair loss history.
Rule 1, never make excuses to a cop
Smoking a little pot.
while stoned.
They give me this shirt because you didn't go
Cops,
make-
tonight at 8, 7 Central on Fox.
In games decided by 2 runs or less, the Cubs are 21-8, and they've taken 2 one-run games from the White Sox in this crosstown interleague series. The Cubs beat the White Sox today 7-6. Tuesday, Game 1 of the Stanley Cup Finals, as Peter Bondra and the Eastern champion Washington Capitals take on Sergei Fedorov and the Western champion Detroit Red Wings. The race for the Stanley Cup begins Tuesday, 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific, right here on Fox. Kevin Tapani is the winner. Scott Air the loser. A save for Rod Beck. Home runs by Hernandez, White, and Sosa. The Cubs over the White Sox 7-6. Now for Jeff Torborg, I'm John Rooney, and thanks for our entire Fox crew. You've been watching the Cubs and the Sox on Fox Saturday Game of the Week.
This has been a presentation of Fox Sports, home of the 98 Stanley Cup, the 98 World Series, and in January, Super Bowl 33. Fox Sports, championship moments into the next millennium.
Don't be out when you can be in watching the game. Fox 28 and 40 want you to get your grass cut with ease and still have time to see the game on Saturday afternoon. So we're giving you a chance to win this snapper mulching mower. Just send us your name, address, age, and phone number. Send your entries to Snapper, I Don't Want to Be Out. Fox 28 and 40, 605 Boyson Road Northeast, Cedar Rapids, Iowa, 52402. Snapper, anything less just won't cut it.
The Eagle 102.3. Continuous classic rock for the Tri-States. Old stuff. New stuff. The good stuff. And none of those worn-out lame tunes other stations call classics. Just the very best classic rock from the last 4 decades without the sappy stuff. Continuous classic rock. KXGE. The Eagle 102.3.
Your home for the season's best sporting events. Fox 28 and 40. We got game. Fox Saturday Baseball. The NFL on Fox. Big 12 football. The 1998 World Series. And Super Bowl 33. This season's